Ndewonu. Anyị abịala ọzọ n'ụbọchị taa. Ụmụafọ Igbo ebe ọbụla unu nọ, oge akara aka erule ka m na-edozi ahazi ihe ebe a. Ana m anabata unu. Okay. Let's try and invite our people here, okay? Let's share the live. Ndewonu. Nechi kedo. I'm trying to let me see. All right, I should make this to be multi-guests. Anyị na-abata biko ka anyị nabata ndị ọzọ, ka anyị na-eme ka ndị ọzọ bata, ka anyị zigara ha no ozi na anyị ebidola. Ndewonu. Let's invite people. Taa ihe anyị kwesịrị ime ịkpa nkata. Nkata ka anyị kwesịrị ịkpa taa. Kedu ihe bụ nsogbu anyị gbasara asụsụ Igbo? What is my problem with Igbo? That is the question. Nechi ndewo. All right. Ihe anyị ga-eme taa n'azụ m enwere m bọọdụ m ji ede ihe. Kedu ndị YouTube? Okay, abatabe. Ihe anyị ga-eme taa bụ ịkpa nkata. Aga m achọ ka ọ bụrụ na ịbata ebe a, ị ga-achọ ịgwa anyị ihe bụ nsogbu ị nwere n'ịmụta Igbo. Biko mee ka m mara site n'imetụ aka n'ebe a na-emetụ aka iji ịchọ ịbata, nke bekee ga-akpọ request. So I would like you to request to join the live so that you can share with us your level of learning and what your problem, which area of Igbo is your problem, or which area of Igbo do you find difficult learning? Like I do say, my class is mainly attended by young Igbo people who are born or who are growing up overseas. Yanwa mere anyị na-eji eleba anya na akụkụ asụsụ Igbo anyị na-eleba anya na ya. Right, so today is a holiday in some places, so people are home and I'm also home, and I decided to make it a unique class for us all, like we agreed in the last class, to have a conversation here today. Princess Kedo, you are welcome. dịka anyị na-abata ka anyị na-ekesa ozi nye ụmụnne na ụmụnna anyị ndị kwesịrị na ebe a, gwa ha na anyị ebidola, gwanụ ha na anyị ebidola ihe ọmụmụ nke ụbọchị taa. Ihe ọmụmụ nke ụbọchị taa ga-agbado ụkwụ na ileba anya na nsogbu ndị anyị na-enwegasị n'ịmụta Igbo. So I would like it to be a one-on-one talk with us. So this is like you consulting me. Ndị nke na-abịa bụ klaasị a kamgbe anyị bidoro na ndị bidoro ọhụrụ. Ihe m na-achọ ka anyị mee taa bụ ka anyị kparịta ụka, ka m nụrụkwanụ n'ọnụ unu ihe unu mụtagoro. Kedu ụzọ ị na-eji enwe nsogbu n'ịmụta Igbo? Kedu akụkụ asụsụ Igbo na-enye gị nsogbu na mmụta? Kedu akụkụ asụsụ Igbo ị ga-achọ ịmụtakwu? What is the area that you're having problem in learning Igbo, whether grammar or literature or history? What aspect of the Igbo do you have problem? It's high girl, everything. Okay, can you let me know, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Like, yes. Like, what is your background with Igbo, or what is your relationship with Igbo? Igbo nwafu Igbo. Amorogenamba, are you growing overseas or outside of Igbo land? Okay, that will help me. And sincerely, whosoever said their area of problem, I would address that. That will be the first segment of this class. All right, I grew up in Igbo home. My parents speak, but my parents didn't teach me. I'm in America. Right. Thank you. It's high girl. Kedu ihe bụ aha Igbo gị? What is your Igbo name? You are not alone, my dear. Gịnị bụ aha Igbo gị? Ada. Right. Okay. Ada, ị hụrụ ụzọ ahụ ị na-aga, ọ bụghị naanị gị nọ na ya. Ọtụtụ ndị na-abịa ebe a. All right. Sorry, I didn't see your request early. Please go ahead and request again. So ụzọ ahụ ị na-aga, naanị gị anọghị ya. Ọtụtụ ndị na-abịa ebe a kwa izu. Nke a bụ nsogbu ha. They can understand, they cannot speak well. Now that you are an adult, that is why we're here, and that is why we're saying, okay, I'm accepting your request. Christy Nekedo.
Because gay Christian one na-ekwu.
Okay.
Even chọ ikwu when I like maybe na-eme. Ibi na-eme dịkwa mma. Enweghị m nsogbu ị na-asụ Igbo ebe ebe a ka a zụrụ m n'obodo Igbo. And for me, ọ dị iche mgbe a na-azụ m, because my grandmother at the time working on ndụ na ebe a nọ naghị anụ Igbo. So mụ na ya dị na-asụ Igbo onwe ike na-aghọta which was Igbo. And my parents ekweghị ka anyị na-asụ Igbo ma anyị na-alụ n'ụlọ. The problem na-enwe kịta wụ onye na-anụ wụ Oshipana ma so Espanyol ka ọ na-asụ. Mụnwa na-asụ Igbo. But achọrọ nke ụmụ m mụta asụsụ be ya, mụtakwa asụsụ be m. So and then like my dad, ma ọ na-abịa, obi ya adị ya ma ọ na-abịa ka ọ na-anụ his grandkids ka ha na-asụ Igbo. Mụ na ya anaghị enwe ebe ị na-ekuziri ebe asụsụ be anyị. So I would like ha na-abịa on your channel where na-amụta certain just the basics. Mama anọghị ya.
Ndewo nna m. Aha gị ọ gịnị? Ọnụụwa. Ndewo. Asụsụ gị na-egosi na ịbụ either onye Enugu or Anambra, right?
Yeah, Anambra.
Okay. Ụmụ gị ndị ahụ afọ ole ka ha dị?
Nke diọkpara m bụ 19.
Okay.
Then nke etiti wụ 12.
Okay.
Then nke ikpeazụ bụ 4.
Okay. Eji m aka na ha niile nwere ekwentị, kwe?
Yes.
Okay. Na ekwentị ha nwere ha na-eji akpọ, ha na-ejikwa abanye na ịntanetị na-emekwa ihe ndị ọzọ dị iche iche.
Correct, yes.
Kedu mgbe ị bidoro bịawa na klaasị a? Kedu mgbe ị hụrụ anyị ebe a?
Ọkwa tata onye nwe onye gwa maka ya.
Okay, nke a bụ mbụ ị na-abịa. Ndewo Adaeze, Chukwu gọzie gị. Okay, anyị na-akụzi nkuzi ebe a ụbọchị Mọnde niile mgbe ọ kụrụ elekere mbụ nke ehihie nke ọwụwa anyanwụ Afrịka, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. Anyị na-akụzi nke ndị ọta akara, nke ndị ụmụntakịrị. Sunday mgbe o jiri ọkara gafee elekere 5 nke mgbede. Nke a bụ ndị ọta akara. N'agbanyeghị ogo mmadụ nọ n'ụlọ akwụkwọ, ọ bụrụ na ọ bụ etogoro dịka ọ bụzi teenager ma ọ bụ onye a ga-asị na ọ bụ adult, ọ ga-abatanwu na klaasị a wee mụta Igbo. Dịka ihe anyị na-akụzi, a na-elekwasị anya n'ihe gbasara ka esi asụ na ka esi ede. Enwekwara ọtụtụ enyemaka ndị ọzọ anyị na-enyere ezinụlọ ndị dịka nke gị, nke gụnyere ọ bụ na ị chọọ dịka na ugbu a ị nweela otu nsogbu nke bụ na nwunye gị anaghị asụ Igbo. Enwe vidiyo m mere for good 1 week na-akọwa ọrụ dịịrị ụmụ nwanyị Igbo n'ịkwalite n'ichekwa omenala dịka o si dịrị kamgbe gboo. Ọ dịzikwa ka ihe bịara gbanwee n'oge ugbu a, enweghịzi ọtụtụ ụmụ nwanyị ndị na-enye aka akwado di ha n'ichekwa omenala. Nwunye gị nwere ọrụ ọ gara arụ asị na ọ bụ onye Igbo, mana ugbu a na ọ bụghị onye Igbo, naanị gị ka ọrụ a dịziri karịa. Mana ịhụla na nwunye gị emeela nke o nwere ike ịgwa gị maka klaasị ebe a nke ewe ezigbote ihe. So ihe ọzọ anyị na-eme bụ anyị nwere omenka app nke anyị wepụtara na-enyere ndị na-amụ ka esi asụ Igbo aka. App ahụ ọ bụ na ha nwuo ya, ha gaa the section akpọ word section. The word section ga-enye aka ige mkpụrụ okwu. Anyị na-edekọ mkpụrụ okwu Igbo ebe ahụ. Anyị nọ over 4,000 or 5,000 of them now. Ha niile bụ mkpụrụ okwu Igbo edekọtara, tinye olu, we voiced it n'ọnọdụ na onye na-amaghịde asụ Igbo, na-anụtụbụ Igbo mbụ, na-anụ ya, na-eje ihe ekwuru ebe ahụ, ọ ga-amụtanwu Igbo. Nke atọ wee bụrụ ọ bụrụzie na ezinụlọ si mba na ihe ndị a niile zuru anyị oke, na anyị ga-achọ ka ụmụ anyị nwee ezigbote ọmụmụ. Now we now talk about customized class. So ndị chọrọ such a class ga-aganwu na website anyị bụ www.i-hav.org. Ị ga-aga ebe a dere resources, ị nweta Igbo language, you fill form n'ebe ahụ, ji ya debata aha gị ka enwe ike inye gị a customized class. And then nwere m a team of people na-akụzi Igbo who can handle each person according to their needs. Now, ihe ndị a bụ mgbalị anyị na-eme, mana nke klaasị a Mọnde niile ọ bụrụ na ha nwee ohere, ha nwere ike ị na-esote wee na-amụta Igbo ntakịrị ntakịrị. Ọrụ dịrị gị ịgwa gị nke bụ eziokwu.
Okay, Dalu, thank you. I appreciate it. Dalu for all the information.
Ndewo.
And like I said, even I need clear because some of them are Igbo, but I know.
Yeah.
But my parents either won't go or so I feel like because I not go or won't go. There's no bridge now. Like when Nzụkọ, Igbo. I was part of Igbo organization in New York. was part of OPU in New York, but in Canada, it seems like change go. So you know, but again, I like maybe Neme.
Ana m ekelekwado gị n'ebe ọ pụrụ iche n'ihe gbasara ka isi asụ Igbo bụrụ onye toro na America. So Ada, ọ bụ na ị ka n'ebe a nọ ihe anyị na-ekwu ịhụla otu ọmụmaatụ. Now, just like I was saying, I do speak English in this class for the sake of people who are growing overseas, who may not understand. Dịka mụ na nwanne nwoke ọnụwa na-ekwu ugbu a, ọ bụghị ndị niile n'ebe a na-aghọta ihe anyị na-ekwu, mana ha ụmụ afọ Igbo. So that is why I also mix up English. But I'm just trying to say that nwanne anyị nwoke a bụ ọmụmaatụ nye anyị niile dịka onye toro na obodo America, ogbochi ya ịmụta Igbo. Mana o nwere ihe ọ rụtụrụ aka. Ọ sị na ndị nne na nna ya nyere ha aka site n'ịmanye ha, ịkwado ha ka ha na-asụ Igbo karịa ịsụ Bekee. Nne nne ya maọbụ nne nna ya nyekwara aka. Mana ọ bụkwa ebe ahụ ka anyị bịara nwee ezigbote nsogbu. Thank you, Usekufos. So many of our parents right now, so many of our parents these days, they are not doing well. And they are the ones making us fall behind in terms of acquisition of Igbo language. Yanwa mere, ji na-eto ekele gị nwanne m nwoke, imere nke ọma. So, bido na nke mbụ, nyere ụmụ gị aka ọwụ na ha nwe ohere ha na-abata na klaasị a Monday niile, na nke Sunday na ha chọọ. Nke abụọ, ha butuo ome nke app na phone ha, ọ ga-enyere ha aka. Mana ịchọ ịga what the English may say extra mile in getting them to connect, because that is what we're doing here, to see how we can reconnect our young people who are almost getting lost. And one nam can ya, why you are here. Ebi mobodo America for at least a while now. This is about 10 years plus. As well. I have been involved in community development, including leadership in World Igbo Congress. Okay, I have hardly met any parent, Igbo parent, who has no regrets about the way their children are being raised as not being fully Igbo, both in my local community and larger. And this has gotten to the point where so many parents do not want to talk about it anymore. They are ashamed to talk about it. Now, what we are trying to do here is to bring out that thing that brings us shame. Let's face it head on. Connected with the language. It is the language that's the only thing that will connect them to the culture, to the identity. If we continue to let our children grow up overseas and outside of Igbo land without connecting with the language, we are losing them. Fact, there are no two ways about it. The culture is losing them. They are losing the culture. And that is what I do not want to have as a parent. I do not want to, the day I'll be leaving this planet Earth, I look back, I do not have my children replacing me representing Igbo. The reason is because ihe Chukwu kere anyị ka anyị bụrụ bụ ndị Igbo. Chukwu kere anyị ndị Igbo first before anything. The hard truth is that we are not just Nigerians. We are Igbo people first before Nigeria was created. Of course, Nigeria was created by man. We are Igbo before anything. Whether you are a Christian, you are Igbo before you became a Christian. Christianity, as it is also a religion that was brought to us by colonialism. So if you look at all the identities you have today, the first primary identity nwere dịka mmadụ, dịka Chukwu jike bugene Igbo. That's the first one. And now that has become the identity that faces the most challenge for so many of us, family-wise. Ya menji na-ekele gị nna m. Ndewo. Yeah. So, ọ bụrụ na ụmụ gị nọ nso, make a habatana class. I na subeka suibo in a way that will connect people. In fact, at some point, I do speak more English than I do speak Igbo, that people will say, why is he speaking English? And I take time to explain to them. The algorithm of my class suggests that 85% plus are people who attend my class every week are growing up. I mean, Igbo sons and daughters growing up overseas or at least outside of Igbo land. And that's a huge community. And every week here, over 500 people watch my class. So taa ka anyị si oke ka m wepụta ohere nọrọkwanụ n'ọnụ ndị a na-amụ ihe kamgbe anyị na-akụzi ihe ebe a. Kedu ihe bụ mkpa anyị? So it is a forum for us to talk. I'm God's own. Kedu biko ọwụrụ na-abata ebe a anyị nọ na mkparịta ụka. Anyị anụtala n'ọnụ nwanne anyị nwoke ọnụ ụwa onye chọrọ ka ụmụ ya mụta Igbo. Asị na ndị nne na nna niile ga-adị ka nwanne anyị nwoke a, ọ ga-enyere anyị aka. And I want to encourage you young people that are here. I do not say you should go fight with your parents. No. If the mistake is made. What we're looking at now is how do we correct the mistake? Okay. Right. So, I have my board, even though that I am sitting, is a conversation. Kedu ihe bụ mkpa gị? Kedu ihe bụ nsogbu gị n'Igbo? So, Ada, I was waiting to hear more from you. Is either you request and join and share with us, or you still write your basic problem, because you talked about the basics. Okay, so I would like to hear more from you. And I wanted to hear more from you by asking you about your relationship with Igbo, and you explained the first one. So if you are still here, Ada, kindly share more and let's see how we can help. Okay. All right. So tabu ụbọchị anyị wepụtara anyị kwekọrọ sị ka anyị nwee nkata ihe gbasara ụzọ anyị si enwe nsogbu ịmụta Igbo. So if you are here, you are married to Igbo, you are affiliated with Igbo one way or the other, and you have love for the language and you want to learn, this is a forum that we have brought out that we have the opportunity of learning. Ndị na-ewetara unu nkuzi a bụ ndị omenka app n'ọnọdụ ihe anyị na-akụzi project nke anyị wepụtara kpọrọ Igbo Literacy Project. Igbo Literacy Project bụ nke anyị wepụtara iji nyere ụmụafọ Igbo aka, ụmụafọ Igbo ebe ọbụla ha nọ, ka ha nwee ike ịbụ ndị na-agaghị efu efu site n'amaghị asụsụ ha. Nke ọbụla Chukwu kere gị ka ị bụrụ, ọ dị mkpa ka ị bụrụ ya, busie ya ike. Dịka nwanne nwoke mgbe ọ na-ekwu okwu, anụtụrụ m olu ya wee mata na o si either Anambra or Enugu. Some people, when I speak, they know I am from Imo State. And that is how our language is. It has several dialects, but ndị Igbo na-asị, Igbo na-asụ n'olu n'olu, mana ha kwa ụkwara ọ bụrụ otu. I'm going to write that down here. You people know that I do write Igbo to show how correctly Igbo is supposed to be written. Nwada Sale Kedu. All right, I'm going to write that here. Igbo na-asụ n'olu n'olu, ma ha kwa ụkwara ya bụrụ otu. I think all right. Ndị nọ na TikTok, I hope unu na here. All right. Ndị nọ na YouTube, I know you are seeing it too. Okay. Adaneru kwano ndewo. Ihe anyị nọ taa bụ mkparịta ụka. We're here to have a conversation about your problem with the Igbo language. What is your problem? Kedu ndị na-ege m ntị kwa izu? Where are you people? Those that come to my class here every week and listen to me. I want to hear from you. You've been hearing from me. And I know I've been hearing from you by way of chat. So today I'm creating this opportunity for us to have this conversation about what area of Igbo language is my problem, either as a speaker or a learner. Kedu ụzọ isi enwe nsogbu? Kedu akụkụ Igbo, asụsụ Igbo na-enye gị nsogbu? Nke ọzọ bụ, ọ bụrụ na ị bụ onye nne na nna, parents, what is the situation of learning with your children? Ụmụ gị ha ma asụ Igbo? Dịka nwanne anyị nwoke bịara, kwupụta, which is a very good thing that she did. Is somebody requesting? I don't know. Are you requesting? Okay, Uche, there. All right. So, kedu ụzọ isi enwe nsogbu? At the family level, kedu ụzọ esi asụ Igbo n'ụlọ gị? Are there concerns that your children may not end up connecting fully with the culture, with the identity through the language? So, ọ bụrụ na n'olu gị, ọ bụrụ na anyị n'olu gị, anyị amara, enwere ilu na-atọ ọchị ndị Igbo na-asọ, so na onye kwuo mkpa ya ụmụnna ṅụọrọ ya meeting. Onye kwuo otu o si dịrị ya, ụmụnna ṅụọrọ ya meeting. All right. So while we are doing that, while I wait for us to, come up, show up and have conversations, I will be touching some aspects of Igbo cultural learning, some aspects of cultural learning, and nke na-agbadokwa ụkwụ n'asụsụ. So dịka anyị na-akparịta ụka, and sincerely, achọghị m ka ihe ọmụmụ nke taa bụrụ naanị m ga na-ekwu okwu. Okay? Achọrọ m ka unu kwuo okwu, welite n'olu kwuo okwu. If it is not your personal problem as well, aga m achọ ịnụ n'ọnụ ndị ma asụ Igbo ihe unu nwa na-eche ma ọ chọpụtara so n'otu n'ime nsogbu anyị na-enwe ịmụ asụsụ Igbo. So the likes of Nwada Sally, I would like to hear from you, okay? So if you can request and share with us your own. Nwada Sally bụ otu n'ime ndị mụ na ha na-arụ ọrụ n'Omenka app. Nwada ma nke oriri n'asụsụ Igbo. Ọtụtụ ndị mụ na ha na-arụ ọrụ n'Omenka app n'ebe a. So I would also like to hear from those that are, on the positive side of language acquisition or Igbo language. What are some of the things, you think or you found out, observations on your side that are people's problem in learning Igbo? Nwada Jaja Ndewo, Jaja, my sister Kedo, Dalu O. Right. So, kedu ndị mụ na ha na-ekwu okwu ebe a? I want to hear from you all. Achọrọ m ịnụ site n'ọnụ ndị na-akụziri ihe kamgbe ọnwa ole. Shime Lochini. I think I just need to move back and start over at primary school, one good year back home to learn. Nke a bụkwa ezigbote ihe. Chime Dalo. If you have observed that you really need to move back, my dear, I think you really need to do that. It is a very huge gap in any person's life who cannot identify with their cultural identity through the language. Is a minus. There's also no painstaking. There's also no overemphasizing of it. There's no way it creates a positive energy. Ọbụna mmadụ nọrọ o nwere nsogbu ịsụ asụsụ ya. Ndewo Usekwu Foods. appreciate you. Ndewo maka okoko osisi ndị ahụ ị na-enye gasa. All right. Ama m na ụfọdụ n'ime unu n'ebe a amaghị na flower nwere aha Igbo. Flower ka a na-akpọ okoko osisi. Gịnị ka m kpọrọ ya? Okoko osisi. Kedu onye ga-edere anyị ya? Okoko osisi. Kedu onye ga-edere anyị ya? How I go to work 8 hours a day, I need to go to school. Chime, you are speaking words that could sound like mine. You are speaking my thoughts. God bless you, Chime. Ọ bụrụ na ị na-anụ Igbo, mama m na-ewu m afọ Igbo anyway. Ọ bụrụ na ị na-aghọta mkparịta ụka n'Igbo, aga m ekwu ya n'Igbo. Ụfọdụ abalị ole gara aga ka m nọ na-enwe uche a, nwekwele ndị mụ na ha kparịtara ụka. M sị, iche ka esiri mụọ ọtụtụ anyị niile, mụnwa dịka ọmụmaatụ, abụ m onye a mụrụ wee gachie ya n'ihu n'ụka, n'ụlọ ụka, m wee na-etopụta bụrụ onye na-aga ụka ihe m ga-asị ụbọchị niile n'izu, n'ihi na ana m esonye na kwaya, esonye na youth, esonye na nka, esonye n'ihe niile gbasara ụka. Ọtụtụ n'ime anyị toro bụrụ ndị na-esonye n'ihe niile a na-eme n'ụlọ ụka, nke na-ebuga gị n'ụlọ ụka dịka ị na-aga ya ụbọchị niile. A kụziri anyị ka esi agụ akwụkwọ nsọ ụbọchị niile ma chebakwa echiche n'ime ya. What is being done to us through this method? We are being indoctrinated. The process of getting us to be Christians is a process called indoctrination. And today, so many of us can quote Bible back to back. So many of us know Abraham in person more than Abraham Mononafoya. So many of us have everything that pertains to religion written all over us. Why? It is the way we are raised. And it will be hard for that to depart from us throughout our lives. Every religion takes that method. And I came back to apply it to what we are supposed to experience as Igbo, as Igbo. Our own culturally is not supposed to be indoctrination. It should be what the English calls inculturation. For instance, ya na-eto wee na-amụta ihe site na gburugburu ya nke a ga-akpọ environment, wee na-amụta site na nne na nna, na-amụta site na ndị ya na ha na-eto. Nwa ahụ enweghị nsogbu ịmara ihe a na-akpọ ihe ndị dịgasị na gburugburu ya. The child has no problem forming a world view through the language of his cultural identity, the language of her cultural identity, because that's the life they are living. Where we have a problem is so many of us that are not born in Igbo community, parents did not help you to inculturate. You missed that experience. Because you missed that experience, what you now need to do as an adult is to immerse yourself back to the experience of inculturating yourself. Ịbụrụ nwa afọ Igbo, gị nwa ka ọ dịziri iji aka gị kpọghachite onwe gị na ihe gbasara ịbụ nwa afọ Igbo nke ị kwesịrị ịbụ, nke ị na-enweghị ohere, nke na-enyeghị gị ohere ịbụ mgbe ị na-eto. That is what we are talking about. So, Chime, ndewo maka iche echiche n'ọnọdụ ahụ. Nwada Sally, ndewo. Kedu? Kedu ihe ị nwere ịgwa ụmụafọ Igbo dịka onye na-arụ ọrụ n'Omenka app, onye bụkwa nwaafọ na-asụ Igbo nke ọma? Kedu ihe ị chere bụ ụfọdụ nsogbu ụmụafọ Igbo na-enwe ịmụ Igbo taa site n'ebe ị nọ? Kedu ihe ndị na-emegasa n'etiti ndị nne na nna, n'etiti ụmụ amụrụ amụ, n'etiti ụmụ akwụkwọ na ndị nkuzi na ụlọ akwụkwọ n'onwe ya? Ị nwere ike ịkọwatụrụ anyị?
Ndewo ndị ọma na-ege anyị ntị. Nke onye chiri ya zere. Asụsụ Igbo ka mụnwa si mara kemgbe nne na nna m mụrụ taa bụ ihe mara mma nke ukwuu. Bụrụ asụsụ kacha dị mfe na asụsụ niile nke mụnwa hụtagoro na ndụ m, amakwa maka nke onye ọzọ, mana nke mụnwa jiga anya m hụ, tinye uche, chọọ ịmụ ka o si aga. Asụsụ Igbo bụ ọpụrụ iche n'ime ha niile, maka na ọ bụ ka o si ada bụ ka esi akpọpụta, ka o si ada bụ ka esi edepụta. Ọ dị ufere, nweghị nsogbu ọbụla dị n'ime ya. Abịazikwanụ n'ebe anyị nwa nọ, anyị bụ ndị Igbo, nsogbu dị n'etiti ndị Igbo, ihe mere ihe asụsụ Igbo ji afịa ya ahụ, na ihe mere ọtụtụ n'ime anyị anaghị amazi asụsụ Igbo. Nke mbụ bụ nsogbu si n'aka ndị nne na nna anyị. Ọtụtụ ndị nne na nna amaghị m, ha na-ahụtazi onwe ha n'asụsụ Igbo bụ asụsụ ndị ime obodo, na ọ bụghị nke ndị chara anya. Ya mere ha mụọ nwa, ha sụọ Bekee, ebe ọtụtụ n'ime ndị agha na-asụrụ ụmụ ha Bekee amaghị Bekee asụ. Ị na-afụ obere nwa ọ na-etolite, ihe ga na-anụ ya n'ọnụ bụ mommy, the food is in the table. Bekee na-arị ibi elu. The food is in the table. Ọrụ n'elu tebụl onweziri in. Ọ bụrụ ihe nne na nna na-asụta na Bekee. Omee, abịa n'asụsụ Igbo, nwa ha anọghị ya. Abịa n'asụsụ Bekee, nwa ha anọghị ya. Abịakwana n'akụkụ ndị nne na nna nke na-eme na ha gụrụ akwụkwọ bụkarịa onye ọbụla na onweghị onye dị ka ha. Ha kụzie ụmụazị ahụ, ndị nke ahụ ha na-ama Bekee asụ ọfụma, mana abịazikwanụ ka kpọghachite ha azụ n'ụlọ, o nweghị ihe ha ga-ama. Ha agaghị amaghị ihe bụ bịa. Nke ha dị n'akụkụ. Ọzọ bụ nke bụ anyị nwa na-eji aka anyị eme. Ụfọdụ ndị na-eme, ọ bụrụ ndị Bekee, ha sị na ndị wanabi, nne na nna tacha afụfụ na-agba mbọ na-akụziri gị asụsụ Igbo. O ruzie ogo ahụ ọ ga-amara gị ahụ, jiri ya baa uru, onye ahụ edobe ya n'akụkụ, si na onye Yoruba na-asụ Bekee na-asụrụ gị Bekee ya na-adapụta ụda ka esi, maka na ọ na-asụ Bekee ka ijizi chọọ isori ya sụwa Bekee na ịchọzi asụsụ Igbo, dobe asụsụ Igbo n'akụkụ ruo mgbe ị ga-echefu ha niile. Nke ahụ abụrụ ọzọ dịkwa ka ibi ya bụ asụsụ Igbo. Abịa n'ụlọ akwụkwọ, iwu a na-enyegasị ọkachasị n'ala Igbo si asụ n'asụsụ Igbo n'ụlọ akwụkwọ, so eme asụsụ Igbo dapụ ebe ụmụazị ndị Igbo nọ. Mgbe a ga-akụzi Igbo, efu onye nkuzi Igbo ejiri Bekee na-akụzi Igbo nke ozi ọba na a na-akụzi asụsụ Igbo. Onye nkuzi Igbo ji Bekee akụzi Igbo kemgbe a ga-amụtazi Igbo nwa. Nke ahụ abụrụkwa ọzọ dịka ibi ya, mana m ga-agbadogolo ukwu ebe a, maka na ama m na nna m ukwu nwere ọtụtụ ndị ọ ga-enye ohere ka ha tinye n'okwu taa. Ama m na onye ọbụla ga na-ege ntị. Asụsụ Igbo, ọ na-asụkwa asụsụ Igbo ka m si asụ asụsụ Igbo taa. Amụ mbọ. Ụfọdụ na-eche na o si na ụwa. Mgbe mpempe anyị na ndị ọcha bi n'ụlọ, Bekee ka anyị na-asụ, ka ọ bụrụ na ndị anyị na ha nọ n'ụlọ na anụ ihe ha anyị na-ekwu. Bekee anyị na-asụ bụ nke gbara akwara, ọ bụkwa nke a na-akwa aka. Mana oge eru ndị afọ mba, ka m ga-esi mụ na asụsụ Igbo na-aṅụ ọgụ ebe nna m Bekee ka na-aṅụ mmiri, ndobe ya n'akụkụ, mbido kụziwere onwe mgbawa mbọ nsi onwe mbọsị ga-asụtasị taa m ga-ekwu ihe niile m ga-ekwu taa ma ntinye bekee ma ọ bụ nke ndị bekee ndị na-arụ ọrụ dịka njikọ ma ndị na-arụ ọrụ dịka mbụ ụzọ maka na ụzọ okwu na-aba ahụ na-apụtakarị mmadụ n'ọnụ ma ọ na-asụ Igbo ka m tinye ya ka unu ghọtebe nsi abịa ndị ka ikwukata okwu tie bikos ikwukata okwu tie and Nkuzi were onwe m mbịa ntinye ha na ya nsi ha adago m ya ntinye onwe m ụnanta si mee ya ruo mgbe asụsụ Igbo bara m n'ọnụ nke ọma na asụsụ Igbo bara m n'ọnụ nke ọma abụkwa na m agaghị asụ bekee abịakwa na bekee m ga-asụta ọnụ m sụọ karịa ọtụtụ ndị si na ha na-asụ bekee sụ karịa ha nọrọ ọdụ ụmụ akwụrụ ọtọ mana anachighị m azụ si mba asụsụ Igbo anyị ka m jidesie ya ike maka na onye magosiri onye mbụ onye magosiri na mbụ onye Igbo ewezughị ya ka ezike onye ka m bụzikwa nhọzin ndewo nna m
Nwada Ebube ndewo mụ na anụla n'ọnụ Nwada Ebube Sale Nwigbo aha ya bụkwa Nwigbo anyway ya dịrị gị na mma enwere ihe usekwu food dere ebe ọ sị ndị na-asụ I used to eat rice. I used to. So many of ụmụnne na ụmụnne anyị ndị na-amụ bekee na ime obodo anyị ha bụ ndị na-asụ I used to. Ihe nne na nna ha kụziri ha. And ihe a ka Nwada na-arụtụ aka na-akọwa na ihe ka njọ n'ihe anyị na-eme onwe anyị dịka ndị Igbo bụ na at the end of the day we are neither here nor there. Anyị akwụghị n'anụ elu, anyị akwụghị n'anụ ala, anyị wee bụrụzie ụsụ. Before I traveled to the United States to live, I used to visit. I used to come as a professor. I used to come to conferences at least a number of times. Those that I used to teach in the university would bear me witness that I used to teach phonetics. And those days, teaching phonetics came into my way of talking, and also having the little pride of onye na-aga aga bata bata. So when I so funny, okay. But eventually, finally, when I, saw myself living here, I found the need to represent that I cannot speak Fone as much as the owners of the language. Even in my Nigerian Fone that I was bragging about, I would say something, they would say, huh? What is that? What are you talking about? So you find out that even your phone does not make you to become a native speaker of the language. I now use myself as an example, right? Onwem kam jima ato. Owe burona. Ọtụtụ n'ime ndị nne na nna anyị bụ ndị batara ala bekee obodo oyibo ofesi. Wee narazie ha ndị ọcha karịzie ndị ọcha. Wee na-asụzi na-akpazi agwa ka ndị ọcha karịa ndị nwe obodo ndị nwe asụsụ ha. This is a fundamental problem, and it is an opportunity you have ọ bụ na ịbụ onye nne ma ọ bụ onye nna na-ebe a na-ege m ntị to change that mentality. I changed my mentality when I found out that my phone could not score me any point when I spoke to Americans. My accent sold me out all the time. It doesn't matter how phonetic I made it sound. What my favorite subject or course I used to learn as a student was phonetics. And I also taught it in the university, phonetics. So I used to think that, I have learned English to the point that I can speak it with, native speakers' accent. But all I found out to be zero. Why? I am nothing but Nwafu Igbo. The earlier you tell yourself that as a parent, the better for you. Yanwa ka nwada Ebube Sally na akọwara anyị. Ụmụafọ Igbo ndewonu. Ndị na-abata ugbu a na-emetụrụ na ya aka n'akara ịhụnanya ka ebe a na-ekpo ọkụ ka ndị mmadụ mara na anyị na-ebe a ugbu a na-ekesara anyị nụ ihe ọmụmụ nke anyị na-eme n'ụbọchị taa ma ọ bụ mkparịta ụka nke ụbọchị taa. Anyị na-ebe a, anyị ga na-ebe a opekata mpe awa abụọ. Anyị ebidola, anyị na ha eme n'otu awa. Anyị nọ n'elu okwu ihe gbasara kedu ihe bụ mkpa gị, kedu ihe bụ nsogbu gị. What is your problem with Igbo language? Ọ bụrụ na anyị mechaa mkparịta ụka taa anụghị m olu ọtụtụ n'ime unu, obi agaghị adị m mma n'ihi I created this opportunity with your consent for us to have this conversation. Let us not deceive ourselves. Ọ bụrụ na ị nwere mkpa ịmụta Igbo, you know that you have a problem in one aspect of Igbo, please share with your brothers and sisters. It is my job to advise you. I'm sitting here today as your counselor, as your teacher, as your consultant, free of charge, there is no pay. Fee also. All right. Yawa bere IG nọrọ ebe a. Ana m anabata ndị niile batara ka anyị na-ekwu okwu. You're all welcome. Biko request to share with us what your challenges are with Igbo language, and let us share with you possible solution or what you could do. Ịbụrụ onye nna ma ọ bụ onye nna, nwa gị anaghị asụ Igbo, nsogbu dịrị gị. Nwa gị na-aghọta ọ naghị asụ, nsogbu dịrị gị. Ọrụ dịkwara gị. Ma ọ bụrụ na anyị matabeghị ya, anyị na-achọ ka ị mata ya taa. Gị bụrụ nwa afọ Igbo, ya bụ na a mụrụ gị na mba Bekee ka ị na-asụ, oyibo ka ị na-asụ. Ọgbụgba ama nwanne anyị nwanyị Ebube Sally ga-enyere gị aka. That is why we want to hear from us. Chime, whichever way you want to go to school, so long as there is that determination, so long as there's a willingness. They say where there's a will, there's what? A way, right? So I am encouraged that you are considering that. Okay? Right. All right, Brittany Kedo, how are you? My problem is my parents never taught me the language. Brittany Ahibo go again. What is your Igbo name? It's good to start from square one. I want to address you. Okay, Chika Odinaka, Ndewo. Oh, Chika Odinaka, nke mbụ, ọ bụrụ na nne na nna gị enyeghị gị ohere, ha kụzikwara gị, ha mejọrọ emejọ. That is what you will call the sins of the father, the sins of the fathers, the sins of the mothers, the sins of the parents. But do you know what? They are our parents. So I'm addressing you now. That's why I'm kind of trying to speak in English so that you follow everything I say. They are your parents. Are you going to do anything to them? No. But it is on them that they did not do well. Now that you are an adult, it is your own job to inculturate yourself. Abone Batara, not quite long, I have said this, that this is why we're creating this platform. What are the things you can do to inculturate yourself? And that's why we're given the opportunity for us to converse, discuss, and find a way for each person's problem. From next week, I will go mount back to the classroom. I will start teaching. I don't know whether you will be learning or not, but now is an opportunity. It's like one-on-one. So where do you start from? Nkembo, inwe a good resource like the one we're providing that you are part of. Nke abụọ, anyị nwere Omenka app which can help you. If you download it, you go to word search, it will help you to learn the words. You listen to them, ige ha ntị, you nyere gị aka ịkpọpụta ha. Okay, nwada Ebube nyere anyị tụpitụrụ anyị azụ si na n'agbanyeghị ihe ndị mmadụ na-ekwu, Igbo ragburu onwe ya n'ahụ. Ndị a bụ excuses. So many people are making excuses. Igbo aragburu onwe ya n'ahụ. Igbo araghị ahụ karịa asụsụ ọbụla ọzọ. To learn a language is a difficult thing, but is this something you want to do for the sake of your own identity and your generation? Yes, it's something you should do. Ihe ga-aghọta aka bụ na isoro na ndị nne na nna ha na-akụziri na-enyere ya aka ịmụta Igbo. Ask yourself what will happen to your own children. Ask yourself. Our brother that came here shared with us his experience. Now, dịka ọ bụ onye nọ n'obodo America na-asụ Igbo. I don't know why. I don't know why they're restricting. They say my life is restricted to some people. The decision is fair. I understand it, but I don't know. Give me one moment. Let me answer a TikTok question, okay? The live does not contain the content mentioned. I don't know what that means. Okay. They say consuming substances featured in this live could harm your health. Oh, okay. I don't know what that means. All right. I'm drinking water. TikTok. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I hope you all can hear me still. All right. All right, Chimese, and okay. I am the same as you. I struggle with the apps because Igbo is tonal. Right, Igbo is tonal, and sincerely, there are several languages that are tonal. Most, if not all, African languages are tonal. What are they? They are our languages. What is Igbo? Is your language. So, why would we not make efforts to learn it even when it is tonal? So, the other question is, tone is one of the things you can learn in Igbo. It's one of the things you can learn as you are learning Igbo. And that is also why we are looking at what are our areas of problem. So for you, Chime, it looks like you are looking at the tone and then the dialects. Now, the aspect of Igbo I teach here is a standard. The aspect of Igbo I speak is a central Igbo. That does not mean that you've an environment where you should speak your dialect. You should not. You should. I speak my dialect when I'm speaking with my people. It is also one of the things you can learn. Learn how to speak the more central Igbo for the sake of those that you are speaking to. Because your community or your audience at a particular point in time that you are speaking Igbo may be people who do not speak your dialect. So these are, instances I can give, okay? Right. Ihe ọzọ m chọrọ ikwute okwu ya bụ nye ndị na-eche na enwe ihe ha nwere ike ime. If you think that, my parents did not teach me, or did not expose me to the language early. So I'm done. I have nothing to do. I want to give you an example of a young lady that I know who is living in the United States. Because of her desire to learn Igbo, she organized what she called, I think, Igbo Learning Forum. And this is a forum of young people like her. They meet once in a time and they discuss their problems. They discuss their positions with Igbo language, the efforts they are making. To the best of my knowledge, they have these meetings regularly. This was a young person. Thank you, Seku Food. This is one young Igbo girl. I also know of another Igbo girl, thank you for the rose, who, even though she was not exposed to the language early, she doesn't even speak so well, but she read in, I think, computer engineering and employed her skill and training of computer engineering into the development of a technology for the Igbo language learning and documentation. Why is she doing that? To make Igbo more accessible for everybody who wants to learn, especially those growing up overseas. Yanwa mekwara IG na-akụzi ihe n'ọgbakọ abụ na nkwago abụ TikTok na YouTube. Yanwa mekwara IG na-agbakọ ebe a taa dịka isi agbakọ ụbọchị niile. Chizi, daalụ o. Thank you for joining on YouTube. Yanwa mere IG na-ajụ sị kedu ihe bụ ụzọ IG enwe nsogbu n'ịmụta Igbo? And that's a question I'm asking all of us. Today we are having a conversation. I still have my board here because I want to write things down. Right. So, and I was saying that while I wait for your contributions, please, if you are joining us now, especially on TikTok, you have the opportunity of requesting to join the conversation. I am waiting for you. Come and share with us your restrictions in learning Igbo language. Come and share with us. Ginebu ihe na-akpa gị, what is your area of huge restriction? How can we help? For a person that has discovered that she really needs to go back to school, what efforts are you making or are you going to make to go back to school? What kind of school? Is it in the classroom or what? How do you want to do that? Can you share your prospects or your idea with Umunne no Munna? Let's also learn from you. That's what we're looking at. So if you have found your problem, what is the solution to that problem? How implement it, and what can we learn from you? And this is why we're on this forum today. All right. Anna Meche, I thank you for the necklace, for the gold necklace. Useku Foods. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. I deserve the medal. Yay. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you for the perfume as well. Ụmụafọ Igbo, kedu nsogbu anyị na-enwe na ịmụta asụsụ Igbo? All right, so Chime, different universities in the US. You saying the universities that teach Igbo, they are costly. moving home will immerse me in the culture. Are you going to do that? What is the way forward? Thank you for sharing all of that, okay? Which one would you want to do? Now, my suggestion, the universities, I don't know your level of education. If you are able to find a university that teaches Igbo, you can learn from that, but you don't just get into the university in the United States to learn Igbo. That's number one. All right. Except that you are getting a degree or any degree in any other course, and possibly you have Igbo in the Department of either Africana Studies or something. That is number one. I do not know of any university in the United States where you can just go and I know that Harvard teaches Igbo. University of Florida teaches Igbo. I know that what other university? A few other universities, I think one in Texas teaches Igbo as well. Now, if these are not in the area that you live, it becomes a problem. If you have acquired a degree already, it becomes a problem if you are going back to learn Igbo only. That may not happen. Going back home, yes, it's an option. Now, you're also going to count the costs. And cost, I mean, as it pertains to everything. But while you are planning that, taking a religious effort, making a religious effort in acquiring Igbo through the online resources could be a big thing. Chig baby. I understand Igbo 80%. I want to learn to speak it fluently. Ndewo, Chig baby. Sekufus, thank you. And that is the reason we are here. And I'm glad you understand 80%. At your level, 80% means if you were exposed to Igbo language as a child, at 5 years of age, you should have learned 80%. You should have acquired 80% of the language. So I don't know that if that's where you are, Chigi baby. 80% means that at the level you are now, what you need to learn is things that pertain to cultural nuances. For instance, kedu asụsụ, the language of kola nuts. Kedu etesi meoji. Kedu ụdị ilu a na-atụ, maọbụ nke a na-atụ na your dialect, maọbụ nke a na-atụ generally in Igbo. What are Igbo proverbs? What are Igbo figurative speeches? You know, these areas of the language are the things you are now supposed to be looking at. I don't know if that defines you, Chiga baby. Let me know. Okay. Right. Now, to conclude on my advice for you, Shime, Tupugela Ola, can you make efforts in acquiring or learning the language through the online resources that are available? Can you make it a religious thing for yourself? Because when we find our problem, we have seen the problem and we are making a decision to take steps. The problem is, are we willing to make that step a part of our life? If your problem is, I want to learn how to speak. As an adult, learning how to speak a language takes a conscious effort. It takes an intentional effort. That is it, my sister Chime. She says, I have found tutors, but the consistency is not there for both parties. Good. So if the consistency is not there for your tutor, my advice would be consider changing a tutor. If the consistency, lack of consistency was on your part alone, my advice would be, please make it more consistent. I was taught to understand Igbo from my grandmother. My parents mostly spoke English as child. Our problem. That is it, Chige baby. Kedu ezigbo aha gị nne ka m hapụ na enwe okwu ntabire by calling your name. Kedu aha Igbo gị, Chige baby? Right. So 9 out of 10 of young Igbo people that are here learning, that are growing up overseas or outside of Igbo land, would definitely point at their parents. Chigemezu. All right, ndewo. Chigemezu, odoromaya na ima ihe aha gị pụtara. Ima ihe aha gị pụtara. N'Igbo ka m ga-ajụ gị, aga m achọ ka ị saa m ya. Oh, all right. 9 out of 10 of us, all right, ndewo, na-arụtụ aka ebe nne na nna anyị ha nọ. Mana ihe m na-akọwaziri anyị wee bụrụ, nne na nna anyị ha emezighị, ha emeteghị ya. They failed us. Okay? But now that we are adults, what can we do to redeem ourselves? If you are thrown into a ditch by your parents as a child, God forbid, and you found yourself growing inside that ditch, but it's not the position you want to be, what would you now do to lift yourself up from that position? Ihe a bụ ajụjụ dịrị anyị niile. Nwada Ebube Sali Nwigbo wee mee ka anyị mara sị na mgbe ya na-eto, na Igbo ya na-asụ taa apụtaghị na ya bụ onye na-aracha Igbo ka ya na-eto, n'ihi na o toro ebe ndị ọcha nọkwa, ha wee na-asụ Bekee, na-asụ oyibo. Mana Igbo ya na-asụ taa bụ mgbalị nke ya nwa n'onwe ya. Igbo ya na-asụ taa bụ ya nwa hụtara onwe ya sị, ọ bụrụkwanụ na ya asụ Igbo dịka nwa afọ Igbo, kedụkwanụ uru ọ ga-abara ya Igbo ikwu na ya bụ onye Igbo? Ọtụtụ n'ime anyị nwere aha Igbo, and that is only thing Igbo about us. Those living overseas, those living in the midst of other culture and tribes, the Igbo name you have is the only thing Igbo about you. That is not a condemnation, it's a reality. That is not a blame, it's a reality. That is not a judgment, it's a reality. So when you hear that, do not be offended. Even if you get offended, do something. Let the offense, let the provocation of offense that you experience be something that will move you into action. It is sad, my sister Chikodenaka. It is sad. I am the voice of your conscience right now, right here. And I will tell you the truth. You're going to have to live with that. But as a person, my joy, my happiness, today, you are young people. You have time on your side. And you have the opportunity to change the story for yourself and possibly for your children, and be an advocate and help your friend and your sisters and your brothers. That is why you're here today. And you're listening to me, you are fortunate. You're also listening to me today. It is because you have benefited from being here. So I'm not going to paint it for you. I can't paint it for you because I want a change. So look at me as your priest or minister that stands on the pulpit and talks to you about changing your way of life. This is part of a way of life that needs to be changed. And I'm speaking to adults. So iburu onye nne na nna na ebe a na anu olu m, ya bụ na imere ụmụ gị ka ha hapụ isu Igbo, ịdara ya. If they blame you till heaven, they have the right to, but I don't say they should. What I'm saying is, even you as a parent, gbanwee site n'ụbọchị taa. Inwe ihe ọbụla ị maara ị ga-eme inyere ụmụ gị aka ịmụta asụsụ ha. The language of their cultural identity is one thing that stands from the day you are born to the day you leave the planet Earth. It doesn't change. That is why people, even with their level of disconnection, they go do their DNA. DNA will tell them, boom, you are 70% Igbo. Woo! They shock. Yeah, it's in the Apple Store. Sorry, Chiko Denaka. I think our engineer is fixing something on it right now as I'm talking. Last week, those that have Apple that are on iOS are not able to see it. It is going to be available right after this class, from what I know. Okay, so bear with us, and I will check the status. If what you can do is check after 1 or 2 hours, or maybe check tomorrow, is going to be available. Okay, right? Yeah. So kai kwuru nwanyị eziokwu. Ọtụtụ n'ime anyị today amaghị ihe mere eji kpụrụ ndị Igbo n'ọnụ na Nigeria. You know why people talk about Igbo everywhere. And because you do not know much about your history, when you hear people talking down, saying things that are not real, that are not true of Igbo, you join them. The next thing, you turn around and start looking at your own brothers and sisters as the enemies. When in the real sense, your problem is the lack of knowledge, in-depth knowledge about your cultural identity. So, ọ bụ na enweghị ihe ọzọ ga-eme ka ịmụta Igbo, ka ị mụọ Igbo, ka ị were ịmụta Igbo kpọrọ ihe, were maka na ị maghị ihe gbasara akụkọ ala unu, akụkọ ala ebe a mụrụ gị. Oh, people say lots of nonsense about Igbo people in Nigeria. So if you have not heard, thank God you've not heard. So please don't hear. Lots of young Igbo people also join in those things. And when you look at them, when you ask them one question about what do you know about this or that about Igbo, they can tell you. And the reason is because parents, we didn't do well. So we, ihe anyị na-arụ n'omenka app bụ ọrụ ichekwa asụsụ na omenala. Ọrụ anyị bidoro na mgbe anyị nọrọ ihe asị ndị UNESCO kwuru. Dịka ndị na-eme nchọcha, anyị ga-mee ọtụtụ nchọcha wee chọpụta na eziokwu ihe ndị UNESCO kwuru bụ eziokwu. Na ọ bụrụ na ndị Igbo agbanweghị agwa ha, na asụsụ Igbo nwere ike ịnwụ laa tupu ma ọ bụ mgbe ọ ga-eru afọ 2050. Anyị wee lebazie anya wee na-ajụ sị kedu ihe mere UNESCO ji na-ekwu ebu amụma dị ụta. Anyị wee na-achọpụta sị n'eziokwu ụmụafọ Igbo bụ ndị nwere nsogbu, bụ ndị na-enye asụsụ ha nsogbu. Now look at it. We, since the past how many years of UNESCO's prediction of possible Igbo extinction in 2050, have found out that a major problem the language has is coming from the speakers. Our language is considered endangered today. And the reason is because of our laissez-faire attitude, of our careless attitude towards our language. To some point, hatred. So many young Igbo people today are growing up with identity crisis. The reason is because they cannot speak their language. For some of you, one thing I have to let you know is, just like I already said it, your identity as nwa Igbo, ihe Chukwu kere gị ka ị bụrụ, bụ otu ihe ga-eduru gị dịka amụpụtara gị ruo n'ọnwụ. Ihe ọzọ niile nwere ike ịgbanwe. Even when you stop answering your Igbo name because you cannot speak them, that does not remove an inch of Igbo from you. You are still an Igbo born because your DNA, that's what it says. So if you go back to the computer tomorrow, boom, and throw your DNA over there, it will tell you you're 100% Igbo. It wouldn't say, oh, you used to be Igbo, but now that you can't speak Igbo, you can't be Igbo anymore. So if you like, peel off your skin. You're welcome. I recognize you. So I na-akpa nkata, anyị na-ajụ ụmụafọ Igbo, gịnị bụ nsogbu gị n'ịsụ asụsụ Igbo? Kedu ihe bụ mkpa gị? Kedu ihe bụ nramahụ, nhịahụ, ọgbachi nwere n'ịmụ Igbo, maọbụ ịsụ Igbo, maọbụ ide Igbo? And we want to be specific. What is that problem you have? Which aspect of Igbo? Kedu akụkụ Igbo na-enye gị nsogbu, na-eme gị ka inwe ihere ịsụ maọbụ ide Igbo? Ndewo usekwufos. Thank you. So ọ bụrụ na ị na-abata ugbu a, biko inwe ihe ị nwere ịgwa anyị, aga m achọ ka ime ka mara. You can just tap to request and I invite you over to speak to us. A few people have spoken to us here and others chose to, put it on chat, and we are continuously making the conversation go. All right. Shim gini bụ ezigbo aha gị. So can the Menka app help someone Igbo speaking? Yes. If you are learning Igbo, Menka app is one resource. You can Chima Obi Ndewo. Amam na ihe ndị abụ aha TikTok. Biko unu agbanwezikwala aha Igbo unu. I know that TikTok and internet, we have a way of changing our names, but I would encourage us to really answer our Igbo names. About you. All right, so yeah, abona inweta omenka abibuto ya igana ebe ngalaba anakpo word section ebe iga amuta mkpụrụ okwu Igbo ọ ga-enyere gị aka. Enwere ilu, enwere ngalaba ilu ebe a tụrụ ọtụtụ ilu kọwakwa ya. Enwekwara ebe akọrọ akụkọ, akụkọ omenala, ihe ndị dịka ikwe n'aka n'ala Igbo. Kedu ihe ọ pụtara? Kedu ihe ọ nọchitere anya ya? How do the Igbo people value handshake? Okay. Enwere ụdị akụkọ dị otu ahụ. Enwere akụkọ dịka ito ọgbọ n'ala Obosi. So we are documenting culture, we're documenting literature, we're documenting arts, gallery, and all of those stuff of Igbo people. It's all about the preservation of Igbo identity. But language is a key, it's a big aspect of it, and then it's still coming up. So, all right, so the kind of kowa mkpa anyị bụ ịhụ ụzọ anyị ga-eji nyere ụmụafọ Igbo aka, karịchasị ndị na-eto na mba, ka ha wee nwee ike ịmụtakwa Igbo. That's what our problem is, our own problem. Ya nwa ka m na-akọwara unu dịka ụmụnna, lekwe mkpa anyị, kedu ụzọ unu ga-enyere anyị aka to help you. How do you help us to help you? That's what we're looking at. Okay? Now, giving you the opportunity to speak in this forum. This is our own gathering. Okay, that's why we say today, Nzụkọ. TikTok didn't allow me to complete the sentence. Nzụkọ ụmụIgbo. What is your problem with Igbo language? Okay? Excuse me. All right. Makandi na abata ugbu, you have a chance to request, and we would I will bring you in, and then you share your experience with learning Igbo with us. Especially obona in Nkuzi nke anyị na-eme kwa izu. Also, when I try to pronounce the words, I feel like it sounds strange with my accent. Well, your accent, let it not discourage you. You could sound strange. If you do not have an accountability partner, get one. That accountability partner should be somebody who knows more, who you will be asking, hey, am I doing okay? But getting a tutor, especially a consistent one, an intentional one, is good. And if you need one as a customized learning, go to our website, www.i-have.org. You will be able to go to resources, and you would as well register for Igbo class. But outside of that, every other class learning resource we have is free, just like this one. Right, good. So both Chiko Denaka and the Queen of Hearts, Kinebahi Bogi, you all are not more American than some white people who make effort, or who we have seen are making efforts to learn Igbo. Some Asian people who are married into Igbo community, and they're making effort to learn. Some of them have gotten to the point of using Igbo to create content and are making money out of it, selling, out something out of it, the language, because of their efforts. Now, I don't blame them. The only problem I have with those resources is so many of them, when it comes to writing Igbo, they mess the language up. A good number of resources online that teach Igbo. When it comes to writing, that's where I have problem with them, and that's why I do correct them all the time. Right. So, ọ bụrụ na ndị mba ga-agba mbọ tinye uche ka ha mụta asụsụ a nke a mụrụ gị n'ime ya, anyị enweghị ngọpụ. Nobody has an excuse. Like I said from the beginning, like there's no way you put it. Turn it upside down, take it heaven and bring it back. You have no excuse. So, Chika Odenaka, from today, stop feeling like an imposter. Feel like a daughter of the soil. Feel like a true born, and approach your language with boldness. Speak it out. Stop listening to your accent, okay? When you continue to blow it out, to speak it out, whatever you are speaking, pronouncing of word to pronouncing of your sentences, the mastery will start coming. Be creative about it. That's my advice. The feeling you feel has little or nothing to do with the efforts you are making and the success you will achieve if and when you do. Yabo, ihem ji na-agwa gị, sopo ya, ikwuo ya na-ekwu ya na-aga n'ihu, na-enwe mmasị, na-etinye uchu na mmụta gị, tupu gị mara ya, ịsụwazie ka nwa afọ true. Odoziakụ Chinwe, ndewo. Ahụrụ m gị, daalụ. Maazị Kanayo Chukwu, daalụ. Ndewo nna m. Anyị nọkwa ebe a, ndị ụlọ gị kwanụ.
Udo dị. Asị m ka mgbogote ka mgbuo, there are no Igbo speakers here, so maybe I'll be mixing it up. So the problem anyway, go first of all, parents. Going do not in Nigeria. Now they go around Igbo, Igbo. About the diaspora, all the parents and the lack of that pride and history, because they know who they are. Your history may as well put from and why it's important, you know. Another thing is, again, some people run over here maybe so that they can get a better job. Or I don't want to call it shame because I don't call no one as Igbo. Nobody cares about who's there. I'm not even talking about everybody down in office, like office in now. Igbo will speak English themselves. Down to Igbo. You know, my guy, maybe not to be seen as rude or move on as or anything. You know, but I find that odd because there's not here. Other nations and other races. Their children don't know about that. You know how to do it. I do one of them, especially in the Spanish. How do you people get your that is the law at home? I bet I don't know. Nobody, there's no other language. From Ndakle. You speak nothing in the house but your native language. English should be taken care of in school. Major work. So that's what we need to. So what we need to subscribe to. You more wrong, but we don't really Igbo in the house. That's the only language other Oma. We have for Asonye Igbo no, and Asonye Igbo said the Batamulu 13, 14. So see, about an showing all the easier to get the language from 0 to 9 years old. Obago. But you have to speak it. No. But some people here, they want to be in the and some people might be offended, but Abraham's religion, so Christianity, so you forget your history and yourself. You know, actually, any year. You know, baptism, you make confirmation. I'm going to again. So how you surrender? We surrendered your history to the chamber. I'm a liberal. I'm an Emily. But you don't want to know now. What's the excuse? Even all simple things that we need to fix. I can fix tomorrow. Let me give you agency Anambra. How are you about Mambala?
Oh yeah.
What that I go? What can you change about to Mambala? My mother, little to you, I remember why I'm just banking. We can get you together like that. Change your name back to who you are. You go there.
Yes.
Is that where you come to kitchen, not drum? Okay, here. But there are things we can learn new and would not kind of analyze myself. The language is easy. I don't know. I know they do for money. And I still like I can just have. And I know your child Yoruba. The guy should not understand it. But the amount of them say, "Ah, man, you go and I know Yoruba."
Yeah.
So all pride. You will what you want to do. Remember when you know your history.
Yes.
Speak the language to your people. If you know your history, you will not speak any. Oh, you buy and I say, "Man, is there." Oh, you buy my car, bro. You know what the boy you are Igbo. It's like you said earlier, I didn't get it. Not your deal is part of it's who you are. You don't see but you don't let your friends are. Now let you are in a little nearly okra. Can't go leave that one too now. You nearly forward. You didn't make traditional wedding. But you have Igbo. That's part of the tradition. You can't pick and choose. Oh, you may look at it together.
No, you can't. You can't.
Look at it together. So again, they go talk about the better food. If you really talk about religion here, you really.
Kedu maka iyi isi agụ iyi nkalari na ihe niile anyị na-agba n'aka. You know, we are the best in doing that. Okay, yeah.
Okay, we how can where the traditional we will put red tin and then in there. Try for my village. I'm going to photo. It's the video. You go do it by force. You book up when you go do it for. So you just need to step back. Believe that what you have.
I want my ajụjụ nye gị tupu one night nwanyị batara Queen of the Heart nye ohere. Nke mbụ bụ na ịma tupu gị bata ọtụtụ ndị kwuru okwu ihe a na-arụtụ aka bụ nne na nna parents.
It starts with the parents.
Ugbu a ịrụtụrụ aka na ndị ka njọ bụ ndị nọ na obodo.
Na Nigeria.
Ndị ka njọ. Kedu ihe a ga-eme ụdị nne na nna dị otu a?
Full on shaming. What it was?
I'd like to push back on that.
All right. Okay.
Full on shaming.
Let's hear Queen of the Heart.
I feel like that's a projection from your generation. Like if there's anybody to blame for real, I would blame the parents. Because for me, right, there's no Igbo that you will say that I don't hear, but there was no emphasis and no importance on speaking Igbo. It was more of an importance and an emphasis on being a scholar. And I think that's part of what Igbo's problem is. We always want to be like the smartest people in the room. Everybody knows how to speak the best English. We're the most smartest people, but there was no pride in our parents actually emphasizing that we should speak Igbo. It was more so an issue of we should perform well in school, or we should perform better than our white classmates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think it's a pride issue for those of us that were
No, Queen.
But I think it's
we are talking about the parents.
Everything you said was what we said.
Yes.
It's the parents.
Okay.
It's not for the young people, and that's like what I say here. Welcome, Choma. And they will.
Okay, let me surprise her.
Go ahead.
I grew up in Nigeria and everything. No, exactly what she said. I could hear Igbo very well. When they told me Lagos, I grew up in Lagos, so I speak Yoruba to speak in Igbo. They had, but every Christmas, you know how when I live in okay, I'm going around, go to Oka. The only one Igbo which is Oka dialect. But now they make efforts to
do the standard, to balance it up. Yeah.
So now when I actually go school for, she was right, where I go school for Oka, now I'm down to university. I'm not Igbo. But you can say the normal thing, the normal, there's no Igbo person here. If you ask a keki man, even the people where they work from office, that's how they greet them. Keki, I ask them all them man. They hear the but the real Igbo that she's right. You can hear Igbo, but speaking it, that emphasis is in the house. That's all you speak in the house. If you want water, you need it. If you don't say it, you're not getting the water. I remember we trade a lot. If I want to sell this coffee to you in English, you may not buy it. But if I sell it to you in your language, they buy it.
A lot of
that's where most people go. They learn the language there.
There's also a lot of Igbo English. Like, growing up at my house, you will hear broken Igbo, but you will hear it with English too. They'll make it. I also heard that when I was coming up. Like, if you grew up in Lagos, they will tell you it's better for you to learn Yoruba than it is for you to speak Igbo, which I always found kind of problematic. Like, there's like a big emphasis on Igbo not being important to know. But then also when you grow up, they kind of like judge you for not knowing it too.
Yeah, they expect you to just know it by just hearing it. But for me, I was born in America, and the only parent that I have that speaks Igbo is my father. But when it comes to a father, he's not really gonna teach you Igbo.
No.
So it'll be the mother, right? So my mom
transfer culture.
Exactly. So my mom's not Nigerian. So even I can't hear Igbo, but I do my best to try to. Even came home so many times to try to learn Igbo. Slow down. But the pushback that I got was, no one wants to take time to teach me. No one wants to take time. And I'm like, can y'all slow down? Someone teach me. Can someone help me understand? And then they're looking at you like, oh, you should know it by now. You should know it just by now.
Let me give you a little hope. It's a cousin of mine. She was born at 2 years old. Her parents moved to New Jersey. She's about 24 now, married. This lady knows how to speak Igbo with YouTube.
From YouTube.
She taught herself how to speak Igbo with YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think that it's so different because this is my issue with that. Because I'll be speaking a whole different dialect from wherever I'm from. And then they're like, oh, okay, that's Anambra. I'm like, oh, well.
Okay. Let me come in to help talk about Choma's case. What we're looking at is sharing our personal problems. So, Queen, I asked you your Igbo name. You never said. I wanted to Chinenye, thank you, my
She speaks
sister.
Igbo.
Yes, of course, she should know that. So
I can speak it small. I think it's just a confidence issue. Like,
good.
You know what's funny? When I'm by myself, I can speak Igbo much better than when I'm around other people. It's kind of weird.
See, speaking, let them laugh at you. Let them correct you.
Nah, you feel me? It doesn't feel good because I almost feel like, damn, I should know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So Chinenye and Chioma, believe you me, I've been teaching this class for a few months. I have had over 500 people join this class every week. 90% of that, 85 to 90% of those people that join, that keep joining, are people like you. So you find out that we have a big problem at hand. Now, that's why we're creating a big solution. And the solution begins with, now that we're here, we keep blaming our parents. They are the culprits, sincerely. They cannot run away from it. In fact, in my opinion, I'm a parent. If I found myself in that position, I will kneel and beg my children, forgive me. I did not do well. But then, let's go back. Parents behind us, we are now the adults in front of us, facing the reality of not fully connecting with our cultural identity because the language is a restriction. Now, what did I say? I think maybe I said this before two of you joined the class, and I said this. I'm an example of a person born in the church. That's the way I introduce myself sometimes, whereby I did every religious thing. I today understand why it is difficult to strip Christianity off of so many of us is because of indoctrination. Indoctrination is making you to do something over and over and over and over again until it becomes part of you. Now, with our culture and our language as adults, it is not indoctrination. It is called inculturation. I'm using English now to explain the concept. That inculturation is something you must do in the manner we all were raised in religion. You're going to have to do it over and over and over again with different methodologies. Learn from YouTube, like our brother Mazi Kanayochukwu is referring to someone.
There are better apps now. I mean,
we have an app,
nothing,
and this is not even the only app for Igbo people today. We have Omenka app. Good. We are teaching this class on TikTok today. Now, the question I have for you, what will make you not to show up in this class every week to learn? What will make you not to participate in a class like this, even if there are 10 of them? So many of us put messages of our pastors on phone we listen to when we're going to work. That is indoctrination. That is what religion wanted us to be like. And the problem with this is that what we are consuming is something that was brought to us and imposed upon us. And the thing has one approach: rip us off of the true identity. And I said it here. The only identity that will remain, that followed you on this planet Earth, that will remain to your death is what? Your cultural identity. Even if you cannot speak Igbo, DNA will tell you you're 100% Igbo. Computer will tell you that. That you cannot speak Igbo does not remove an inch of your DNA from you. So why? Because you are Igbo. So that's what we're coming now. What are your inculturation plans for you, Queen Chinenye, and for you, Chioma? And this is going to be a personal plan drawn by you. Now, where do we come in? We come in to help you actualize that plan. Do you want a customized class? We have it. Do you want a free class? We have it. Do you want resources of all kinds? We have it. So what will be your inculturation plan? You're going to have to be intentional about it. We all have been intentional about worshiping God and going to heaven. If there's one thing we all are living for today as Christians, it's about going to heaven. Yet none of us wants to die young. We still want to live here and grow gray hair before we ever die. But while you are living here, what are the things you are doing? If God created you Igbo, why would he be happy that throughout your life, you never showed your identity truly as a person who lives on earth? So that is why we bring it back to all of us. Parents, you didn't do well, but you are still our parents. So what are the things we could do? Now inculturate ourselves. So I would like to hear your plans if that's something you've really planned out. If not, I would like you to build on one and possibly, come back to this class and share if you have that opportunity, or make it a routine for yourself. Whatever effort you're going to make, sisters, it is going to be from you, by you, and on you.
Let me say one thing real quick. If everybody here, if me, Queen, Chioma, and you, we are forcibly or intentionally taken from here to France.
It's funny you just said that because I'm learning French right now. It kind of prompts me to be like, I need to learn Igbo first.
In 6 months, just to survive, we'll be speaking French.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
Whether you like it or not, if you go to Mexico, you'll be speaking Spanish because you have to mix with the people. I was going towards the intentionality.
Yes.
You have to be intentional.
Yes.
So you got to eat. You got to order stuff. You got to go to market. Before you know, you're speaking French.
Yes.
Because everybody around is speaking French. So if you go that route, you get it down in less than a year. And to Chioma's case, if I start speaking Oka here now, Omeka might not even understand me. But there's something called...
I would definitely understand you. I'm a linguist, so...
Okay. But there's something called Central Igbo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is the one I speak more.
Because, for example, now, if I show you this... Ngaji. Right? But Oka is in Kobo.
That's interesting.
You see what I'm saying? There's still local dialects, not the Bende, but there's a general Igbo.
Yeah.
So learn the general one. Don't worry about the local ones, right? Because if you're not Canada, they can sell.
And also, brother, Mazi Kanayo, see, the thing is this, because I would say as a linguist, Obuna, your dialect is the one that comes up before you now to learn. Learn it. Let it be that you are learning Igbo. Okay? When you are done, you can now begin to advance into the standard or the central Igbo. Okay? Like I said, I speak my dialect very, very, very well. But when I come in on stage and in the public, I speak the more central Igbo, which will make you to understand me more. Now, for instance, Mazi Kanayo showed Ngaji, which I never heard is in Kobo. I learned that one. Is his dialect. So now you are talking about Nambra dialect. Have you thought about Ohafia? Abreba? Ower is even close. Ower is close to Central Igbo. Okay? You think of Ohafia people, what do they speak? Okay? So the question is, what is your learning plan? And that is the question I want for each and every one of us to be able to answer. Now, even if you are a speaker fluent like Mazika now, you're the first man Bereba were parents. And he said, Yamato in America, but I was surprised he speaks Igbo fluently. But problem you were booking Umuyana has so because all of Igbo, and at the end of the day, the mother's role is completely reduced. Yes, she cannot teach the children now. So the man Choraka Umuya saw Igbo. At the end of the day, my own joy about him, so even though that he grew up in America. And what does that mean? Personal effort. But he also mentioned that parents persuaded them. And even as a linguist, is in my own house. I put a law. Unoga school, Lotta, here, you're going to speak Igbo. So my question for us is that if you don't get it right now, how about your children? What will be their fate? What is the fate of your children? Based on the fact that your parents did not do it well or did not put you in that pathway. That's why we have to be intentional about it.
I did I'm ready. I just feel like what I've been doing lately is sometimes if I see lives and people are speaking Igbo, I'll tune into the live so I can kind of like I guess, inundate myself with more Igbo. And then I also feel like I can write Igbo very well, but to speak it, I guess I just need to take out more time to kind of like get over the accent issue.
Chine, I'm interested in that very well writing knowledge you have.
Yeah, I'm a linguist myself. I can speak Spanish. I can speak French. I grew up learning Latin. I studied Latin for 10 years.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, so it's very easy for me to pick up a language and write it. I think even Spanish sometimes, like if I'm not around, like, because Spanish can be very colloquial. Like I can't speak proper Spanish, but I can speak Dominican Spanish because that's their dialect. They have a certain way of saying it and stuff like that. So I feel like I could learn Igbo if I really just kind of force myself to do it. I guess I just haven't really put myself into the force of it. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is a reality. Now, I'm glad you found where you are. The spot where you are right now is a spot where you have to make that intentional determination to say, hey, I'm going to be forceful about this for myself. Can we do it? Yes. Can you do it? Yes, you can. So if you can do it in the next few months, you are going to be an advocate for your friend, for your brother, sister, and anybody around your environment who is struggling the way you struggled in the past. And just like, to align with all what we're saying, if our generation cannot get it right, scolding our parents, blaming our parents will not get Igbo back. We are the bridge between losing Igbo culture and language. Hapukwa culture generally, because we know how to wear isiagu, right? We are the bridge between losing the language and gaining the language. That's why we are doing this. I can scream from here to tomorrow. If after my screaming, people will change their way of life towards Igbo. Our attitude towards our language is our major, number one, primary problem. And that is what UNESCO is predicting about. I wrote an article 2013 about this when I was doing my PhD. And I did a research. And that's why I'm so conscious about this. The noise is so much out there. The noise of how Igbo people dominate everywhere, Igbo culture, Igbo identity is so distracting. The main thing is that gradually, as Monaga born about Igbo, right back in our villages, kids are not speaking Igbo. Schools are not teaching Igbo. Right in our villages now. Example, before I kind of drop that. Enwere m nwatakịrị si ebe a, nne ya akpọla ya, nne ya bụ nwa school, ọ na-agụ akwụkwọ ebe a. Ọ bịara ebe a mụọ ya. Ọ nọ ihe dịka afọ abụọ ugbu a. Now, nne ya, by herself, na-erezi ya, so okay, ka ọ kpọlarị ya nna ya nọ na ụlọ n'Enugu. She managed and succeeded in doing that this Christmas. Recently, ọbịa na-egosi anyị video nwa ya ebe ọ na-ekpo aja. I was so happy about that. Ebe ọ na-agbagharị with ụmụazị ibe ya. But you know what? The one that broke my heart, right there in the village, what they are learning in the TV is hair, my head, my shoulder, my feet, my toe. That's what they are learning in the TV. Then I heard where I think it was the father that was speaking to her in English. And I asked the mom, are there people who speak Igbo? How is she learning Igbo at all? He said, my husband doesn't speak Igbo. I said, hey. So how can this girl who was transported to the village to enculturate, how is she going to acquire the language? She's surrounded by...
She will get it, the environment.
Yes.
She will get it regardless. But sorry, I tried to interject. And I'm not, let me say this thing before I drop down. So that don't be discouraged in speaking Igbo. Let me tell you why. Even with this Central Igbo, right? Anaka Igbo. There's another Igbo.
Let me pick my charger, please.
That is spoken with like you said, colloquial, like Spanish.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example now. Like if you're Anaka now, and you say, hey, how do I get directions to this place? They'll tell you, if you go, I'll say this in English so you understand. If you go down this road, Then I tell you, remember, there used to be a goat in the village that always roams around. You see what I'm saying? Like in our court, maybe the owner of that goat was Mwako. You know what I mean? I said that, hey, like in our court, I'll tell you that this business you're doing, it means it's not good. But if you don't live in the village and heard about that man with that goat or that tree that fell, you'll still be lost. You have said, okay, they will sell you in Oka using the dialect. So, you do not grow up in the village, so you don't know who Mwako is. But they already spoke to each other that your story is going to run around. They know the goat walked around, so don't listen to this guy. You remember when that tree died, fell. You were not there. Or the damages that made. So it's also a social, it's not just speaking, it's also a social communal language.
Yeah, it's a social code.
Things are happening, it's also used in the Igbo. Things are so, kind of like French, when you say Saba. Someone can be swimming and struggling, you say Saba, are you okay? If they bring food for you, they say Saba. So they use Saba for a lot. Saba can mean situational.
Odika ekele Igbo. Let me also kind of chime in this one. Recently, Amam Madoleneba, who are now greeting Ụtụtụ ọma. I have said it in the class again and again. Ụtụtụ ọma is not an Igbo greeting.
It's an English Igbo.
So it is an English greeting that is translated into Igbo.
Exactly, and that one really made me upset.
It is not.
Let me even shock you more. Ndewo is not Igbo. It's Ben Mende. It's Ndewo. It's a Mende word that buried into Igbo.
Good. Owo now Mende, but it has been inculturated into Igbo for long. Like we can't even say this is when it got into Igbo. Okay, that's number one. And Mende may also then another point to that is that the Mende you are talking about might be Igbo people who lived in Mende who speak that, and one might think is not originally Igbo. That's another point. But Ụtụtụ ọma on its own is purely English good morning, which right now people are greeting. Now, why did I bring it up? Ekele Igbo generally bụ a situational greeting. Ọ na-abụ ndị Igbo na-ekele dịka ihe ị na-eme, what you are doing at the moment. Outside of ndewo maọbụ daalụ, ihe dịka nnọọ is about you have come back, right?
It's also spiritual.
It's also spiritual. Ị na-arụ ọrụ, enwere ike isi gị unu a na-arụla ya maọbụ asị gị jisi ike o. Onwe ga-asị gị ehihie ọma. That's not Igbo. I got say unu na arolai for people in una putagoi itelai ebola chie olea. You see, so these are greetings. Unu na eri say unu na ha erila unu na erikwa. These are how Igbo people greet. Now, so the situation that we find ourselves is what, and is more of question. So when we are looking at some of these things now, culturally, the young Igbo people do not know the cultural nuances that associate everything we say, just like Mazi Kanayo said about Ewunwako. So the social construct that go along with the language comes to you naturally when you have acquired the grammar. That is why beginning.
News to me. I've never heard of this before.
Of course.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I've never heard my grandmother say Ndewo. I've never heard her say something like that.
Let us people say Ndewo. Another one real quick, because Ubenugo, there's one Ube in Enugu is a region that's very bitter. No, it produces bitter leaf, bitter fruits, not the best. So me I speaking this how you have Ubenugo, and I talk Ubenugo. You will never know what they're talking about unless you live in Dhaka and know about that ube tree. That doesn't taste good.
So yawa meraiji a document ilu na atụmatụ okwu n'Igbo from different dialects, because we don't want these things to go away. One of the classes I had in recent time was about our last names. you realize that our last names are going away. My last name, for instance, Asonye. And when one more tap boy Asonye. And when one agamu today, na my nebe boy Asonye. So Abona Umazem Naza Ima Asonye today, they are no longer around. The name Asonye is phased out.
I have a little pushback though.
Go ahead.
The pushback is this: surnames, Garabia.
From
hold on, I found Bukanayo, Maoyoka, Anukulumunoka, Nemutambu, Ifenywa, Namibo. And I surname came with colonialism. I'm going to them to an hour, hold on. If you put it on the big screen, I'll show you something. Yeah, can I put it on the big screen so I can show you something?
Okay, let me see how to do that.
If not, I can manage from here.
No. It's not confirming me to switch spots. Oh, okay.
If you this thing there, now for this thing, this is my family tree. To the 7th generation. You know? The last name that we answer now is my first grandfather's name. Others have names that I can easily answer. Now, that's why I try to prove that point. I'm able, I'm Moyoka. I'm only Kamu, then the Nibo. You can call more for opening to should I okay, so last name comes with, it is accepted now. But any of these grandfather's names, I could have taken. And remember, your Ikune will give you their own name.
In Ihina Kawabona, the last name will Ahanna, right? Okay, okay, in Akawana Igbo na Zabu Aha Ne.
No, Iki has a fan that in the Fanam,
Yeah, I have a similar thing in my family.
My father's name come out.
Like my father's household is Okwemma family. But how they got they used to all be Okwemma, but then something happened, and then Ibokwe took his first and last name and he made his own surname. And then Mbawike made their own first and last name, made their own surname. And same thing with Ihebule, made their own surname. So now there's 3 of us, but we all come from Okwemma family. I'm part of Okwe family.
No, but now we have it's still the same concept I am bringing. Oh yeah, like I don't know.
But now we've all taken one last surname and everybody's trying to identify with
Oh no. That's not
what I'm saying.
Okay, no, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. What I'm saying is that then Ahan and Dinaza or Tutahan and Dinaza na la.
Okay.
Anaiza Goha. So even if for instance, even if my last name Asonye to Ihedema, it is still a name that may not be or Ironde, just like my father's name was Ironde. Ironde might still be a name that Enwenwa Morta boy Ironde. And what I'm saying is that culturally, but they are facing away. We are now assuming English last names that are being given to us through what you are now saying, Mesana, your colonialism, right? In a line, you must na mubua. Ahan na ha na zazibo aha beke. So abonai leanya, you see that most of our last names, those like today you are Kanayo. Kanayo is still in vogue. Kanayo, right? But Kanayo is your first name. So I want to Kanayo today. How about in the next 10 years, 20 years? Will they say answer Kanayo, or will they change it to a name that is not Igbo or a name that is Igbo? That's the concept we are looking at. You understand? So what one is that, okay, Kanayo is a name that is in vogue today. We document it, say the meaning, and put it down. Exactly. Exactly. So
my question is, when it comes to that, like culturally, is it appropriate to just come and change your name? So for my father's is Agim. That's my great grandfather. That's my great. We're all Agim. But then my uncle's kids, they're wanting to say, "Oh, my last name. We're changing our last name to Kevin." I'm like, that's our. You can't just like. Kevin is our direct grandfather. grandfather, but I'm like, what? That doesn't even make sense. And I'm like,
what's your daddy's first name?
My father's name is Charles. My father name is Charles.
His Igbo first name.
Igbo name, yeah.
Oh, his Igbo name is Olochukwu.
Good.
Okay, you can be Choma Olochukwu.
Olochukwu.
Not even your dad's last name.
Not Kevin.
Not Kevin.
Wait. No. But listen, my thing it to that.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of people named Collins.
Because according to my father, my dad is like, to just go and start calling yourself by this name is not appropriate. That's like
from my perspective of deep knowledge of Igbo culture, there's nothing wrong generally in Igbo for you to change from maybe a distant last forefather to a closer one, the one you can identify with, right? Now there's nothing, but not English. That's where the problem is, but not English.
Okay.
I can change my name today to my fourth granddad's last name.
Yes.
Or first name, but it has to be Igbo.
Yes.
I'm more Igbo.
Yes.
That's the only difference. Yeah, you can change. Your child can be Mirima Chioma.
Yeah. They can answer your direct name so long as they can, because they relate with you more than the four great-grandfathers. I think Useku Food has something to share with us in that regard. Azo ano kandewo imela maka onyinye mkpụrụ obi nke inyere anyị Chukwu gozie gị. Azano kandewo na Maazị Kanayo na-ekele gị ọ na-ege abata kworo m nnokwu ndewo o Useku Food. Wow.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ganihu.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to respond. You've responded to her, partially, but I wanted to also let her know that in Igbo land, that is acceptable. Like, if you, for instance, I've said this in one of the classes that, you were teaching about last names, right? And I mentioned that my father's name, Obiwuru, is not anywhere. And, it's not mentioned anywhere. My father is late. We were all answering our grandfather's name that I don't even, I never got to meet him. My eldest sister didn't meet him. Like my father got married when my grandfather was already late. But my siblings, everybody, our family, third up to the fourth generation, is still answering the same last name. And my father's name is lost. My uncle's names are lost. Everybody wants to bear that same name. The family is getting larger and larger and larger. And I was thinking that my only brother, will be the one that will maybe, have his children bear my father's name or bear his name. They're still bearing our grandfather's name. And I want to also think that when my brother's son, first son, marries and starts bearing children, he might still end up bearing the same last name. So my father, my brother, and their own name may be lost.
Okay.
So
thank you for that perspective.
I think it's good to, yeah.
And actually, response, and we're having Ezioku Bondo, Nwachineke. That's something, a comment he made, and he wants to come and also talk on with his voice. Thank you, Mazi Azanoka. I appreciate Chukwu Gozie. So what she explained happens with some families. And Mazi Kanayo, I just want to put it to your knowledge that family last name answering or family last name retention, the dynamic across families in Igbo. Mm-hmm. And they went on one short rule that makes families, help families how they retain. Families that have a name that is prominent, they like to retain it. Like the Ezine that she talks about, in the class. That name became popular at the time. So descendants decided to keep it. I have a family in my village called Eribuo. Till tomorrow, they don't want to change that name. And the great-grandchildren have so expanded multiply across the world, they still retain it. That's one factor that makes that happen. Okay, I don't know where the echo is coming from. Usekufu, can you mute, please?
Good afternoon.
Right. So
I'm doing all right.
Usekufu, can you mute, please?
Oh.
So the other people might.
Yeah,
that's not muted. All right. Another family might decide to say, this last name that is our great-great-grandfather's has taken a long time. We're answering it. Let's change to a closer one. But I have Ezioku Bondo Machineke here who made a point to say you don't answer a name of a parent that is still alive. Ezioku Bondo, can you share more lights for us? Nde wonnam. Ihe anyị ji na-asụtụ bekee bụkwa maka ụmụnne anyị ndị na-anaghị aghọtacha, ndị na obodo America na ofesi. Okay, go ahead. You can speak in Igbo though.
Muted, I guess.
Okay, Dalon.
Ndewo.
Dalon.
No.
Ịmana ọ dịrọ mma ịza afọ anyị ka dị ndụ. There many reasons. Because the person might change and become a bad person. Because change is the constant. A living person can turn to become a wolf. So answering his name will affect that person that is answering that name. Then another thing, some family normally change the name because of the kind of life their father lived or their forefather lived. They want to key into that a living legend or the essentially live life the person live on earth. Because there are so many ways of changing name. I
know.
Today,
then another thing, always some families, you get change the name of one alpha. If you go to alpha, the name you change, nobody will know it in spiritual realm. Then you have to go back to your former name. I will give you an example, like Bayelsa. Most of families in Bayelsa are Igbos. But because of when Igbo came, they start telling them some change their name to Brass, some change their name to
Turner.
So many
won't just come out office.
all
Turner.
of them originated from Igbos. So a guy, the guy wanted to do something. The thing started disturbing him. He tried so many things to seek a solution to it. They now got an offer to ask to address Then he called his name. The offer said, nobody recognized that name. Then he reached a stage. I said, go and ask the name of your forefathers. Then when stage your parents change name. The guy's name was Brass at that time. After asking so many questions, I got so many generations. Now I'm going to pick the name. Their forefathers Naza. Or pick the real name the family is before. So when that name came, that's when the solution came. We have so many ways of changing name. Then when family got be a cause family, then you can change name to avert that cause, so that the cause will not, because everything has pattern. So that the cause will not linger to another generation. It will stop at that person that cause. Because can the Igbo change name?
There was
Can I give a little pushback? Little pushback.
Cheto Mazi Kanayo. Tupu gị nye pushback, achọrọ m ịgụpụta ihe Azano ka kwuru, which I think is a point, but achọrọ m ime ka anyị niile mara ọwa eziokwu na anyị na-arụtụ aka ihe gbasara aha. Achọrọ m ka anyị kpọghachite uche anyị na ihe anyị na-akpa nkata ya bụ ka anyị ga-esi enyere onwe anyị aka n'ime ka Igbo hapụ ịnwụ. Aha nna anyị na-ekwu okwu ya bụ part of ihe nsogbu anyị na-enwe na asụsụ Igbo taa. Ụmụnne anyị abụọ Chioma na Chinenye n'ebe a bụ ọmụmaatụ ụmụ afọ Igbo ndị na-eto na mba, ndị nne na nna ha na-enyere ya aka ịmụta Igbo ka ha na-eto, ha wee bi ugbu a na-enwezi mgbalị nke ha. They are putting their own effort towards learning Igbo, enculturating themselves. So ya nwa ka anyị na-ekwu, anyị jiri tụzi aka ihe gbasara ha. Mana aga m achọ ka anyị ihe Maazị Azanoka kwuru ọsọ, normally family names are accepted to be changed after every 4th generation, and then Nechi confirmed that to say it's true. Now ihe m na-achọ ikwu bụ na ma ihe nwanne anyị nwoke Eziokwu bụ Ndụ kwuru ma nke Azanoka kwuru, ihe ndị a niile abụghị ihe a na-akpọ omenala jikọtara Igbo niile ọnụ. These are part of traditions that are being observed according to different communities, just so you know that aspect. So etu o si dịka Maazị Eziokwu bụ Ndụ kọwara ya, nwere ike bụ eziokwu na ụfọdụ obodo, mana obodo ndị ọzọ anaghị ahụta ya etu ahụ. So that's why we have cultures, and Igbo culture and Igbo traditions, and even customs as well. Maazị Kanayo, Gazenihu, then we'll get back to
for your daddy's last name. You to go before your ancestors start coming. So I brought just now. I could have one book. Can I? Oh, no, knocker. You have my ancestors got better. So you can get my and again, last name Delabia. To me, I'll be like, oh,
no, Maazị Kanayo, achọmka I went to some kind of cautionary way of looking at it that way. Like in the Igbo, we are patriarchal, right? The patrilineal lineage, rather, not patriarchal. We observe patrilineal descendant way of looking at ourselves culturally, not matrilineal, right? Now, ihe na azabo ahanai, not ahanne ani. So whether we call it last name or surname na beke, oka okwa ihe ha na-eme tupu ndị ọcha abịa. Aha nna ka anyị na-aza, right? Okay.
That's what I mean. I don't have to answer my father's name. Like.
All right. Okay.
You can hear me. How they call coming?
Yes.
I'm a fan book. It doesn't have to be or just as a Kanayo Kungfo, because my dad adopted that last name as a Kungfo, which is a great grandfather's name too. It's my dad, in the way that you tell Mawa, you couldn't even know Mawa. Your grandmother could give you her own, your grandpapa could give you her own.
Yeah.
It's a name,
I mean, definitely yes. So, bana echerem n'uche nke m na aha nke ndị nne na nna nyere gị maọbụ nne maọbụ nna nke ọbụla bụ nke kachasị pụtazi ihe nke na-aza, mana ihe mere anyị ji na-enwezi ụfọdụ nghọtahie ugbu a bụ na ọtụtụ n'ime anyị ka a mụrụ mee ha mmiri chukwu n'ụlọ ụka eburuzie aha ha eji mee gị mmiri chukwu ya ka ị na-aza. Enwere m otu nwa enyi nwoke si na mgbe a na-eme mmiri chukwu n'ụlọ ụka Katọlik, abụghị m Katọlik, nọ nne ya gbadoro ụkwụ n'ala si na agaghị agụgharị nwa ya aha bekee na ọ ga-azarịrị aha Igbo, aha ya bụ Arinze, enye ya aha mmiri chukwu ya bụ Arinze. That is one in a million examples. I've not seen or I've hardly seen. Good. Okay, so all our fathers and our forefathers, all the way back after the colonial time, we are baptized and renamed. And this is a pure concentrated method of deculturizing, disconnecting us from our and but where we are today now, kedu ihe kedu nsogbu anyị ka nwere n'ịmụta asụsụ anyị and kedu ụzọ anyị nwere ike iji nyere onwe anyị aka? Because
parents are disappointed.
Parents are disappointed. I agree with you. I agree with you.
And according to Ezoku, Stephen Arabarafa.
Exactly.
Francis Arabarafa.
Enwere m onye jụrụ m ajụjụ mmiri mma. Ọ sị kedu ihe m ji yiri okpu m etu m si yiri ya. Mmiri mma okpu a enwere ndị na-akpọ ya okpu agwara. Enwere ndị na-akpọ ya gị n'ọzọkwa. A na-eyi ya n'ụzọ niile dị iche iche. Enwere ike iyiri ota. Enwere ike iyiri ota ma ọ bụ ota. Ha niile bụcha style. Anọ m na onye yi nke ya n'aka ekpe. Kedu onye na-ebe a mute ose. Okay. On the yiri n'aka ekpe. And when I think I learned anyway that yiri n'aka ekpe ọ pụtara na iwe ji gị. While this and possibly this pụtara ihe ọma, I'm not completely sure. But I decided to wear it this way today, so long as a yimi n'aka ekpe, which means that iwe ji. Okay, so I am in good mood. So ọrụ na ịmara karịa ka esi eyi okpu a n'ụzọ ndị a niile dị iche iche. Yeah, you can share with us, okay? All right. Yes, they all have meanings. They can
meaning behind it.
Exactly. And like I said, nke iyiri n'aka ekpe taa, from what I learned, I am not an expert in culture. I'm an expert in language, which of course is part of culture. So this agamacho is somota, whether metum siri yiri or putara ihem na mai, which of course I thought I know why I'm wearing this in the front. All right. Okay. And Mazi Ose, ahochaime ahagi, you're welcome there. Ihe anyị na-eleba anya bụ ụzọ anyị ga-eji nyere onwe anyị aka n'ịmụta asụsụ Igbo, asụsụ na omenala. This is a forum mostly for young Igbo people growing up outside of Igbo land who are having problem learning the language. And ebe a ka anyị nọ na-akụzi asụsụ Igbo for a very long time. Mana, maybe you just joined. We are talking about the issue of our last names, most of them that are being going extinct as part of the language. Gịnị ka ị nwere egwu anyị? Ndewo.
Maazị Osoji.
Maazị Osoji, ndewo. Ndewo.
Ihe a na-ekwu maka ya na ezigbo ihe ka ọ wụcha, ezigbo tọpik ọ ịma na ụka bịa mebie ọtụtụ ihe, ndị ọcha bịa mebie ọtụtụ ihe n'ala Igbo yọta maka afọ agwaghị anyị na ihe ọbụla gbasara blak dị njọ. Chekwado ndị be anyị na-agba langweji pọtọsel iwe ọchịa kịta na o nwere ebe na-achọ na Naijiria na ka ibulu ịdị ebe a ka isugbu Igbo ewe gị n'ọrụ. So ị asụrụ English mmiri na ife ọbụla gbasara ndị ọcha abụgoro nọ because as na obefa ka Jizọs iwu Jizọs chara ọcha. So ewere gị ife ọbụla bụ white bụ ezigbo ihe na ihe ọbụla bụ black bụ ezigbo ihe. So all ya the essence of that baptism and that baptism first of all so niile nọ na-emebisi because ihe abịa because at that time nọ seminary ịbịa ma mgbe ị ga-eme baptizim ma mgbe ị ga-atụ eri ma mgbe ị ga-eme confirmation ịbịa ọbụla afọ ọbụla ị ga-aza na baptizim ga-abụla %, ma afọ ọbụla ị ga-aza na confirmation abụla %. Enwere ka eme gị baptizim ma mee gị confirmation ifu gị ya ndị anụma bịa mesefa mee na anyị nwazi anyị na-ekedozi onwe anyị. Nke abụọzi ndị abịa kede anyị n'onu, kede anyị n'okwu, kede anyị n'aka, mana nkịta anyị nwere na-ekodozi onwe anyị chain na brain nke bụ na ndị be anyị adịzi. So before ihe ọbụla gbasara ịza afọ Igbo agaba kịta a ga-ebugodo ụzọ deconstruct godu Christianity, all the religions, but all emphasis is on Christianity because onye maka wee dominate here, especially ana Igbo So before anything I get Buguruzo, the construct go to Christianity. As in baptism akwụsị take place. Maka ọ bụ na so long as ndị be anyị ka na-eme baptism, a ga na-aza afọ oyibo. Like onwe mbọsị mụ na mmadụ na-ekwu okwu, nsị na afa dịka Mgbeke bụ ezigbo afa, Mgbeorie bụ ezigbo afa. The person na-asị m Fiakwa, afa ndị gboo ka eji dị afa ya eme. Nsị ya, oke, ihe ịchọrọ ka ịza afa sandụlụ ọfụma, mana ịzọrọ ịza afa nwee meaning. Onye ọbụla ma ihe kepụta na eke bụ energy, mana ichuzi ịza
Felicia,
Paul,
Veronica,
Cecilia, Cosmos, Francis, Casimir, afa anụwa ọ afa gị onwe ndị nna nna gị pa azara ụdị afa ha ka efe iji afa ya eme ịghọta ya o mistake anyị nwame ọfis na mụnwa ịmagolu onye ọbụla amụ n'ime ime ụka ihe ọbụla ịnọ n'obere nwa a wee kụzibe elu gị maka mgbe a
mụrụ anyị niile n'ime ya,
amụ anyị niile n'ime ụlọ ụka bụ na ọ bụ everyday dadị m ga-asị ya jere buru closiri ịghọta nke bụ na m megide sef chọba ka nchi fada baa seminarị agụ m akwụkwọ n'ọhalụ seminarị Ọnịcha ịghọta. So at a time ihe dịcha na Baịbụl adịghị clear ịghọta ebe a ka m nọzi wee chegbu uche because mgbe m nọ die ịbụ na onwe mgbe agwa anyị onwe ebe ụlọ agwa anyị si anyị na onwe ebe anyị ga-ejeru n'ime that journey of becoming a reverend father na anyị ga na-ajụzi many questions, anyị ga na-afụ very confusing mana anyị adapụla n'okwukwe ịghọta. So those things now they are mee anyị ara ajụ ajụjụ dịtara asị ihe ọbụla ekwu n'ụlọ ụka ịchọta ịba n'ụlọ ụka asị gị you are a thief, ịbụ onye njọ, ịma nwere ka ihe ezi wee sị na ịbụrụ onye njọ even ma mgbe ị na-eme ọnụ nwa dị njọ ime sef ị ga-ekweta na ịbụ onye njọ because why onye nọchi anya Jizọs ekwugo ifo ya. So and with that fear na-etinye ndị mmadụ n'anya na-asị gị tụwa egwu God, fear God. Like I need to deconstruct to go to Christianity before anything. Because one video na-ekiri one time na-asị ka I put more work ka eke ga-esi wee work gwara ndị kwesịrị imere onwe fi ife, ndị kwesịrị ime ka ihe chenjie they depend on God. Na-asị gị ihe ọbụla ọnọdụ ọbụla ị nọ na ya chekwube na Chukwu. God ga-abịa melụ gị ihe. God na-akwụlọ ndị ọkpọ ọrụ ndị asị na ọkpọ ọrụ men of God ọkwụrụ ọfụ ụgwọ members fa na-enyefe ego ọkwụrụ ọfụ ụgwọ ọnwa. God asị gị imagine na mmadụ ga-ejekwuru ụkọchukwu ma ọ bụ pastọ si ya na o nwere problem, ihe pastọ ga-agwadebe ya bụ chekwube na Chukwu ga-emelụ gị ya. God will do it at his own time. Mana onye ji ego ọ bịa n'ụlọ ụka ọsọ onye ọbụla ute. Now onye a na-asị gị pray to God anytime you need anything in your life that God will answer you. Mana that person nọ ya as a man of God ọ nọ nso to God, mana God enyenwuli ya those things ọ na-asị gị yọba God ka God nye gị. Ndị be anyị adịghị eche uche. Okay, the other day a na-agafe n'ụlọ ụka fụ ka ndị mmadụ na-agba egwu nsị ka ya na-eme asị na celebrate Easter na onye nzọpụta fa bịa nwụọ maka fa n'elu obe. Ọ nwụrụ maka gị. Okay, even imere ebe ahụ a nọ wee kpodo ya n'obe sef asị na akpodo ya n'obe mmadụ na-agba nọ ya n'akụkụ andọ ndị ụwa akafa bụ.
Okay, mechiwa o ka anyị nwee ike itinye ọnụ na ihe i kwuru. Ndewo nna m.
Ndị mmadụ ma ihe na-akọrọ ebe a bụ story ka ọ bụ script ebe ndị na-art film nọ.
Okay, Maazị Osoji, ndewo nna m. Imeela. Thanks for your contribution. Ihe anyị na-agbakwasị okwu n'ihe anyị na-amụ bụ ka ụzọ anyị ga-eji nwee ike ichekwa asụsụ anyị na omenala anyị so both of them are together because language is a vehicle for the transmission of culture. Yanwa ka IG na agbado okwu na-ejisi aka ike n'ihe gbasara kedu ka anyị ga-esi bụrụ ndị Igbo hapụ ịsụ asụsụ Igbo. Mana o nwere otu bekee Maazị Asonye sọrọ ugboro nke bụ deconstruct. Echere m na deconstruct achịkọwa ya n'Igbo mụnwa chere na o kwesịrị bụ ịkọwara anyị okpukpechi anyị wetara anyị n'ụzọ eziokwu na-abụghị nke eji ụgha na asị kpuchigide dịka ndị wetara anyị ya mere. Okay, these are two different things. So n'ọnọdụ nke anyị nọ n'ime ya ugbu a ha mechara ihe ha mere hapụ anyị lawa anyị nọgidezie n'ime ọtụtụ ihe ndị ha wetara anyị ugbu a n'ọgbọ nke anyị na-ewe jizi aka anyị na-ahụ na ihe ndị ha wetara anyị ọtụtụ n'ime ya bụ ihe ndị ghọrọ anyị ahịa. Now the question is, how do we deconstruct? We start by deconstructing by ịkọwa kedu ihe bụ Christianity, kedụkwa ihe bụ Chinenye Ogenwa, can you mute please? Gịnị bụ our Christian identity as opposed to our Igbo identity? Ihe abụọ ndị a ha na-alụso onwe ha ọgụ. Chinenye, can you mute? Good. All right. Christianity ọ na-emegide omenala anyị, true or false? Omenala anyị o megidere Christianity, true or false? I think depends on where you are standing from. Where I want us to stand on is the point of view of the language. Kedu ihe Christianity na-eme against our language today? We being Christians, these are some of the things we are touching here right now, right? Again, all of us are Christians, or rather, we are born Christians. Anyị na-etozu ugbu a na-eji anya ahụ ebe mụnwa guzo ekwu okwu. One of the things I have problem with today, but those of us who were born in the church or who converted and became Christians that are going to church today are doing more heinous evil than those that are considered non-Christians in our own land today. Otu ọmụmaatụ wee bụrụ ndị niile nọ na ọchịchị Nigeria as a country today are church goers except those who are Muslims. Ndị Igbo niile who governors, senators, all of them are members of one church or the other, and even elders and deacons and deaconesses in those churches. These are the same people that are putting our life down to the point of the level of hunger we are experiencing. You will hear some of these big pastors where they are claiming no how governor, no how senator, and it was the will of God. That same governor has blood in his hands. So the question about, is it the will of God that this man becomes a governor and starts killing his people, whether directly or indirectly? Question mark. Elect. One night why Chinenye is not a chef ofe egusi. Chinenye biko isichagi meka aimaraka ibesorogirie o. And you said earlier that you know how to write Igbo well, so the Igbo you wrote is not correct. And I'm si ofe egusi. And so why the mazikanayo there wo. So I was saying otu ọmụmaatụ anyị ga-enwe iji kọwaa ihe gbasara Christianity bụ kedu ihe ndị ọ na-ewetara anyị n'ụbọchị ndị a dịka ndị Igbo. And I am being very particular about our Igbo identity. How are we working with our Igbo identity as Christians? Is Christianity standing against our identity? Or can we still be Igbo people and be Christians? Please, whatever we are saying, ihe na-ewute anyị n'ebe anyị nọ dịka ndị ọrụ omenka apụ bụ ime ka anyị nwee ike ịbụ ndị na-asụ asụsụ Igbo, ka Igbo anyị hapụ enwu. Chinenye, ị nwere ihe ị ga-agwa anyị? Kedu nsogbu ị nwere na ihe gbasara ka esi asụ, ka esi ede Igbo, na mkpa ọ dị na anyị ga-echekwa asụsụ anyị na omenala anyị. Ndewo. Chinenye ọ n'ebe ahụ? Gaa n'ihu.
Onye ọbụla anọ m ya.
Nwada, ndewo.
Nkata nke mgbede a magburu onwe ya, agbanyeghị na m abịachaghị n'oge, mana abịara m mgbe ose ọjị na-ekwu okwu. Ọ na-ekwu gbasara ụfọdụ ndị na-azacha aha. Onye ọbụla uche nke ma na amasị onye chọrọ ịga ụka ya aga n'ụka, ma onye chọrọ ime ihe omenala ya emela. Mana ọ dị mkpa na nke onye ọbụla na-eme kwesịrị ime ebe o si. Ndị bekee kpọọ ya identity. You identify yourself with ebe isi wee pụta, maka na isi onye enu wee daa. Ọ bụrụ na ịbụ onye Igbo, ị na-asụ Igbo, ị na-azakwa aha Igbo, aha gị ahụ bụ nnukwu ihe makpa ihe
na-egosi ihe ịbụ onye Igbo,
na-egosi ihe ịbụ. Maka na isi dịka enwere m aha bekee Blessing, nzawa Blessing naanị. Oke, enwere ike asị na aha nna m Ọdụgo nwere ike ejiri amata na m bụ onye Igbo. Mana kedu maka ndị a na-aza Blessing John ma Blessing Emmanuel, ndị na-etufu aha nna ha? Ọ na-ewekwa n'iwe na ọ bụrụ na mkpọtụ na-abata n'ebe
anyị na-anụ. Gaa n'ihu, nsogbu adị.
Okay. So na-ajụ ndị a na-aza Blessing John ma Blessing Emmanuel, kedu ka anyị ga-esi mara na ịbụ onye Igbo? Kedu ka anyị ga-esi wee mara na onye anụma oke ịbụ Blessing n'eziokwu na ị na-agụ ka anyị ma? Mana kedu ka anyị ga-esi wee mara na ebe isi ebe dị otu a na-asụsụ Igbo? And ụfọdụ oge ebe ọ na-enyetụ m nsogbu bụ ndị na-eji maka ihe na-enweghị isi were agbanwe aha nna ha. Ọ bụgodị na ihe iji agbanwere aha nna gị bụ na o nwere ike ọ bụrụ na ịgawago ụka, onweghị isi. Maka na ịgbanwee aha nna gị from ka e were aza agụ wee gaa zawazie Emmanuel Blessing, ịfụ na itu
Okay, gaa n'ihu.
That is that identity a na-ekwu maka ya.
Okay, ndewo Nwada Chinenye. Maka gaa n'ihu, eche m ikwuchala ngwa. Just go ahead and conclude, okay?
Okay. Na nchachi ihe m na-ekwu bụ na onye ọbụla kpọrọ onwe ya nwaafọ Igbo ga-agba mbọ jidesie njirimara ya ike. Njirimara onye bụ asụsụ ya, njirimara onye bụ aha ya, njirimara onye bụ ekike a na-eke. Ma anyị na-aga ụka ma na-eme ihe omenala, ọ na-adị mana onye ọbụla bụ nwaafọ Igbo na-ehichi akwa. Afọ m akwa Igbo, ọ bụ Igbo ọtọ ka eji mara anyị. So ya na o jide mkpa ị na-eke ekike chi ahụ ya ịfụ ọka ikpo okpu ga-eyiri wee gwara ihe olu. Ya bụ ihe eji mara ndị Igbo. Ụmụ nwaanyị ekekwa ekike asị na onye abụkwa onye Igbo. Ihe ndị ọ na-adịkwa ọ dịka otu anwa ma ifu onye Yoruba na aha bụ onye Yoruba, ifu onye Hausa na aha bụ onye abụ onye Hausa. Ihe a niile bụ njirimara mmadụ. Nwa m ihe nke ndị Igbo ga-eji wee dị iche. So na-akwado onye ọbụla ka anyị gbaa mbọ jidesie njirimara anyị ike. Ndewo.
Ya dịrị gị na mma Nwada Chinenye Odugo. Okwu ikpeazụ i kwutere bụ ịrụtụrụ aka na ihe gbasara ekike nke ịgba ọtọ nke anyị na-ahụtụ. Achọrọ m ichetakwara gị na enwere asụsụ Igbo, enwere Igbo a na-ekwu na-asị na mmadụ bụ mgbe ọtọ. Nwa mgbe ọtọ bụ aha a na-akpọ nwa ada a na-alụbeghị, nwa amụrụ n'ala alụbeghị ya, ọ bụ mgbe ọtọ. Aha kpọrọ ha mgbọtọ si na aha kpọrọ mgbe ọtọ. Nke ebe eziokwu bụ na tupu ndị ọcha abịa wetara anyị Christianity, ejiji ndị obodo gụnyere iji ejiji na-egosi akụkụ ahụ mmadụ. Nke a gụnyekwara ụmụ nwanyị. Mana ọwụzi ejiji anyị na-eji ugbu a, anyị na-ejizi nke ndị ọcha wetara anyị, nọrọkwa n'elie na-ejizikwa na-eyikwa nke na-egosi akụkụ ahụ. Mana ọ bụrụ na anyị gaghachi azụ ebe ejiji anyị si ebe ọ nọ, ndị ụmụada karịchasịa na-eyi ihe ndị na-egosi karịa afọ ha na ụkwụ ha ebe a. nwa ihe nwere ike ịkpọ mpeteri maọbụ ejiji nke dịka nwere ike ịkpọ miniskirt. O nwere ndị na Africa, ụfọdụ akụkụ Africa, some part of Africa today, ebe ụmụ agbọghọ ha na-eme emume ha na-agba ọtọ ebe a yiri kere ihe n'ukwu naanị. Ha na-egosikwa onwe ha na YouTube. Ọtụtụ South African side, yes. Ụfọdụ ndị mmadụ na-akọcha ụdị omenala, mana ile ya anya ịga n'obodo ahụ dịka anyị na-ahụ ya from afar, mgbe a na-eme ememe ahụ anaghị ahụta ụmụ agbọghọ ndị ahụ dịka ndị gba ọtọ. Onwe onye na-ele ha anya n'obi dịka ndị a ga-anwakpu. Enwe onye na-ele ha anya n'obi dịka a sex toy, dịka the concept of it in the Western world. N'ihi gịnị? They are in their cultural regalia. So even our Igbo culture so much has a way of dressing, has a way we used to dress that showed some part of our body, but they were all traditional dressing. So just that one alone, okay? All right.
It's not considered as a sex object.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not. It doesn't accept all judge will be able to I'm out there that it is our mindset before we can walk around with our breast bare. The Maholis who did one agano. We are mechanic. Kitazi, I gave up a guy in the shit. The better important culture from other places.
Yeah.
Oh, on that kind of cover before. For this sense, it's not really seen, but we have changed a lot of things.
A lot of things have changed over the time upon us. And Oboyena, we really had a choice stopping those things. And
we are forced.
Yes, as we are beginning to, wind down on this conversation today, actually, for those of you that are not proud, and I want to say a little more of this in Igbo, in English rather, because of our brothers and sisters who understand more in that aspect. I want to remind you that the colonial powers who came to conquer us did not like us so much after what they went through in the process of conquering us. Go and check your records. The Igbo people were the most problem they had for 31 good years. Nigeria, each tribe and each community in it that became Nigeria today was conquered within days. It took 31 good years for the British to conquer Igbo land. And after the conquering of Igbo land, Nigeria was amalgamated. We were the quote and unquote the most rebellious. The reason was because Igbo people, in our strong nature, we are individualistic. We are men and women of our own minds. So, and we're also men and women of deep cultural connection. So it is so painful how we got so disconnected from our culture that today, that if you go around Nigeria, because of what was left for us behind, the institutions that left for us behind, so when baptisms used to happen, they used to happen by force. Either you baptize and still remain a chief, so to say, or they exile you or they buy you. So it was all by force. Now imagine when I get humiliated to baptize, what will happen to his subjects? And the other aspect of Borona, when these people conquered us, they burned down our villages. They raped our girls. They messed up our system. Colonial, political. I know. I take that back. Yeah. So
I love TikTok live.
Yes. They took a lot of things. Had taken a lot of things from us. ihe ndị mere ka anyị bụrụ ndị anyị bụ. So we are on a journey that anyị na-achọ realize who we are. Kedu ndị anyị bụ dịka ndị Igbo. And again, the other thing wee bụrụ, one thing I must say is, tupu ndị abịa, anyị nwere Chukwu, chi nke anyị na-efe, bụ nke I believe we are the ultimate God. Now, that same God is still what an average Igbo person believes in, even if you are a Christian. The connection between us and that same God, I mara from time through our forefathers mara before the Christianity came, was still God. The only difference was the approach. Ndị nna nna anyị ha nwere ụzọ ha na-eji agakwuru chi, the ultimate God, the Almighty, through the other gods. What Christianity brought was a change of practice and the redefinition of that God. Now, we are now looking at that God from another concept, which is an imported concept. Now, as this touches Christianity or religion, what we are looking at is, kedu ụzọ this journey ga-eji awụrụ anyị ihe ga-enyere anyị aka to realize our language, to get back our linguistic identity. That's what we are concerned in this particular platform. And ana m ekele ụmụnne anyị ndị bịa nọnyere anyị, soro anyị kpaa nkata n'ụbọchị taa. It was, I would say, very overwhelming to hear from all of us. And especially Maazị Kanayo, you are a very wonderful, person. Thank you. So, ana m ekele anyị niile ndị tinyere ọnụ ma ndị na-etinye ọnụ na chat. Those of you that are joining this class for the first time, anyị na-anọ ebe ụbọchị Monday niile na-akụzi Igbo, 1 p.m. Eastern time, which is currently, I think, 6 p.m. Nigerian time or 7 p.m. I don't know. So, biko, bịa nọnyere anyị next Monday. Some Sundays we are also here. Obo na nwa gị ụmụ gị anaghị asụ Igbo, bring them to our class. And more importantly, let them get Omenka up on their phone. O nwekwara ọtụtụ ndị Igbo, ụmụafọ Igbo ndị ọzọ na-akụzikwa Igbo online. But why we are so much concerned about what is being taught about KCD, we are so concerned because Igbo has been so messed up online, the way they write it. So even you, learning how to write is a very important aspect of learning. So I na-agbagume bikono yere no ayaka ka ọtụtụ ụmụafọ Igbo, those who are growing up outside of Igbo land in Nigeria, ndị na-anaghị asụ Igbo, and those who are growing up overseas, ka anyị nwee ike join forces together in realizing our linguistic heritage back. Ka Igbo hapụ ịnwụ, ka Igbo ghara ịnwụ. Ana m ekele ndị niile metụrụ anyị aka n'Igwe. Maazị Azanoka, you are coming here for the first time. Imeela, God bless you. Ndị niile tinyere ọnụ n'okwu, ana m ekele unu. Aga m akwachi ugbu a. Maazị Kanayo, ana m ego ohere ka inye anyị otu mkpụrụ okwu ga-eme ka emechie. Ndewo. Ise. Ndewo, Igbo okenye ya dịrị gị na mma. Ngwa ka ọ dị nọ.